Chapter 1358. Fan Jun, should we be on our way? Just as Aunt Meng and the others were looking at Fan Jun and waiting for his answer, an unquestionable voice sounded in their ears. I'm ready. Looking at Ouyang-zhen, who was standing in the air, there was no fear in Fan Jun's eyes. There was only relief. It was as if he was about to walk on the path of liberation. Hey, you're quite tactful. Looking at Fan Jun, Ouyang-zhen's figure flashed and appeared beside him. After leaving this time, I'm afraid you won't be able to return. Are you sure you don't want to bid farewell to the person you care about? Others might not know, but after following Fan Jun for so long, how could he not know that Fan Jun's heart belonged to someone else? Unfortunately, they had feelings for each other. Ouyang-zhen also felt that it was a pity. After all, Fan Jun's one-sided dedication was quite admirable. You are? Seeing Ouyang-zhen's sudden appearance, Aunt Meng was in a daze. The scene from back then flashed in her mind. Instantly, she remembered Ouyang-zhen. You're that expert from back then? Turning his head, his gaze locked onto Aunt Meng. A trace of interest flashed in his eyes as he looked at her. Little girl, I didn't expect you to still remember me. After saying that, he took a step forward and walked toward Aunt Meng. That's right. I am that person from back then. However, after taking a step forward, his figure instantly appeared beside Aunt Meng. This scene caused the surrounding people to exclaim in surprise. Only Li Jiping and the others who had seen it before were not shocked. Do you know what you want in your heart? Although he was very displeased with Fan Jun's previous actions, after interacting with him for so many days and Fan Jun had already consumed the soul-controlling pill, he subconsciously treated Fan Jun as one of his own. Senior, don't say, shut up. Ouyang-zhen berated. Looking at Ouyang-zhen, a strange look flashed in her eyes. She understood what Ouyang-zhen was saying, but, all right. Since you're not going to say it, there's no problem. Taking a step back, he arrived before Fan Jun again and looked at him sympathetically. I didn't expect you to not get the answer you wanted in the end. How is it? You have no regrets now. Let's go. After saying that, he started walking out of the palace. Fan Jun naturally followed him. Fan Jun, you're leaving? The panicked Auntie Meng looked at Fan Jun's departing figure and quickly chased after him. She panicked. Even when Fan Jun left the military camp, she was still like this because she knew that they would have a chance to meet again. But now she had a feeling that after leaving this time, it would be difficult for them to meet again in this lifetime, so it's fine. He didn't turn his head back, nor did he stop. After that, the two of them gradually disappeared from the eyes of the crowd. Plop. He left. You really left? Won't come back anymore? She sat on the ground weakly and tears flowed uncontrollably from her eyes. Do I have you in my heart? Looking in the direction that Fan Jun left in, Auntie Meng muttered to herself. She was lost and helpless. In the distance, Li Jiping sighed when he saw Aunt Meng acting like this. How could he not understand Aunt Meng's feelings towards him? However, he did not have such thoughts. Moreover, he could tell that Fan Jun was interested in Aunt Meng. He did not expect that things would end up like this. The capital city was on the peak of the Foggy Lamp Mountain. After leaving the imperial palace, Ouyang-zhen brought Fan Jun directly to this place. It's finally done. Next, it's time to deal with your matter. Ouyang-zhen looked at Fan Jun and said as he took out a jade pendant from his bosom. Wait. After I ask the sovereign, let's see what your final outcome is. Without waiting for Fan Jun's reply, Ouyang-zhen activated the jade pendant and communicated with Lin Rei, who was in the Netherworld. You are in the Valley of the Netherworld. You are on the way to the depths of the valley to meet up with the Scarlet Flame Tiger. Suddenly, a white light flashed from the storage ring and the footsteps stopped. Ouyang-zhen? As he thought, he took out the communication jade pendant and activated it. Suddenly, Ouyang-zhen's voice sounded from the jade pendant. Sovereign, Li Jiping has unified the Hongtian Empire. Oh! This news made Lin Rei excited. This was the best news he had heard since he came to the empty nether region. Sovereign, Li Jiping has unified the Hongtian Empire. Then, Ouyang Jing looked at Fan Jun and continued, Fan Jun, how should we deal with him? Him. Upon hearing Fan Jun's name, Lin Li fell into deep thought. Logically speaking, he had originally wanted to kill Fan Jun and be done with him. But now that so much time had passed, and considering what Fan Jun had done, his desire to kill him had faded. Forget it. There's no need to kill him. Previously, I couldn't stand his arrogance. Now that it's been such a long time, forget it. When Ouyang Jing heard this, he was stunned for a moment before he understood. He looked at Fan Jun with a smile. He didn't want to make a move against Fan Jun. He knew that the soul domination pill was very precious to him. Now that Fan Jun had eaten the soul domination pill, it was equivalent to the soul domination pill. Moreover, Fan Jun's cultivation talent was still not bad. Now that he was the only one in the empty nether region, it would be nice to have someone to accompany him. Sovereign, since that's the case, why don't you let him follow me? I can teach him some cultivation techniques during this period of time, and let him accompany me. Okay. Without hesitation, he agreed. Understood, Sovereign. Sovereign, do you have any other instructions? No. You stay there and wait for me to return. After that, we will leave this place and return to the Holy World. All right, that's all. I still have things to do here. After saying that, he hung up without waiting for Ouyang Jing's reply. Looking at the jade pendant in his hand, Ouyang Jing shook his head helplessly and kept the jade pendant in his arms. At the side, Fan Jun waited nervously. He was waiting for the final result. Whether he lived or died, it would be decided in the next few minutes. This guy. Looking at Fan Jun's nervous expression, Ouyang Jing smiled and reached out to touch the barrier. He said to Fan Jun, Sovereign's decision is, what? What is it? Fan Jun took a step forward and whispered into his ear. Sovereign's decision is to not kill you and let you follow me to cultivate. When Ouyang Jing said that, Fan Jun, who was too nervous, relaxed his body and spirit and fell to the ground. No need to die. No need to die. Ouyang Jing nodded in confirmation. Of course, not dying doesn't mean you can leave. For the next period of time, you will follow me to cultivate. Before you reach the nascent soul realm, you can't leave this place. Do you understand? Nascent soul realm, what is that? Fan Jun was stunned. Ouyang Jing. He let it go. There were no cultivators here, so they didn't know about the realm. Chapter 1359. Netherworld, Secluded Valley. After hanging up the communication with Ouyang Jing, Lin Rei heard a system notification in his mind. Ding. Mission completed. Mission reward, chance of returning to the sacred world +1. Ding. Host, do you want to return to the sacred world? Hearing the system notification, Lin Rei's body paused and he subconsciously wanted to return. After all, the sacred world was his home ground and this was just a small interlude. But, system, how long will it take for the system to upgrade? Thinking of the other mission, Lin Rei hesitated. Ding. The exact time is uncertain. It depends on the speed of the system's energy absorption. If it's fast, it'll take a few months or a year. If it's hard, it'll take 10 to 20 years. *CK Lin Rei was dumbfounded. It would take 10 to 20 years for the system to upgrade to the king level. This meant that he had to wait here for another 10 to 20 years. Alright, host, don't you want to explore the Dragon Spring secret realm? Moreover, don't forget that there's still the mission to help Yi Xiang enter the Sword Sect, so, host, there's still a long way to go. There are so many things to do. If you want to return to the sacred world, it'll take at least 10 to 20 years. Lin Rei, Lin Ray didn't refute. Since the system had given him a time, the only thing he could do now was to wait. After all, it was necessary for the system to upgrade to the king level. The nether chi here could quickly increase the speed of the system's upgrade. Moreover, there was also Yi Xiang's mission to upgrade by one level. How could he not be excited? Alright, since that's the case, then, no, if I don't return now, will I lose the chance to return to the sacred world? His expression was tense as he waited for the system's response. Now, the chance to return was in front of him. If he could return in the future, it would be fine. If he wasted this chance, then, don't worry, host's worries are purely for show. If host doesn't use it this time, the chance to return will naturally be left for the next time you return, so, host, don't worry, what you're worried about will definitely not happen. After saying this, the system's voice disappeared and returned to silence. As for Lin Ray, his originally tense figure instantly relaxed. That's good, that's good. After the matter was settled, all that was left was to wait for the system to level up and complete Yi Xiang's mission before returning to the sacred world. Just thinking about it made Lin Ray feel even more anxious to return home. He couldn't hold it in any longer. They had been out for such a long time. If the system hadn't notified them that the Xuanzong sect wasn't in danger, they would have been dead. Let's continue. On the road again, Lin Ray and the others soon arrived at the depths of the valley that their divine sense had explored before. Brother Lei, you're finally here. A figure instantly appeared in front of Linley. That fawning look on his face caused everyone watching to stare blankly. Looking at the scarlet flame tiger, Lin Ray gently smiled and reached out to stroke the scarlet flame tiger's head. You're already so old, yet you're still like this. Brother Lei, no matter how old I am, I will continue to be like this. Besides, I'm your battle pet. Who can say anything? Who dares to say anything? As it spoke, it swept its gaze over the surrounding people with killing intent. Instantly, the surrounding people subconsciously lowered their heads, not daring to look at the crimson flame tiger in the eye. Even Lao Bai did the same. This was the first time he had seen the crimson flame tiger with such a murderous aura. At this moment, everyone was filled with fear towards the scarlet flame tiger. Under this level of pressure, it was already good that their souls weren't shattered. Of course, Lin Ray was secretly manipulating it. Otherwise, everyone present would have been in danger. That's enough, little tiger. Seeing little tiger's behavior getting worse, Lin Ray hurriedly reached out to stop it. You came early. How are things here? Is the Dragon Spring secret realm suitable to open? As soon as he said this, the scarlet flame tiger came back to its senses and quickly withdrew its killing intent. It looked at the crowd guiltily and then replied to Lin Ray with a serious expression. Brother Lei, the Dragon Spring secret realm will open later, so... It pointed to the old man who was working on the opening. Brother Lei, this is the Grand Elder of the secluded valley who is opening the Dragon Spring secret realm this time. Looking at the person the scarlet flame tiger was pointing at, all the information of the other party instantly appeared before his eyes. Name, Jiu Kue gender, male cultivation, star sage When he saw the old man's cultivation, Lin Ray was slightly stunned. He glanced at Daylily at the side and then continued reading. Identity, Grand Elder of the Secluded Valley. He hid his cultivation very well. Damn, this guy. Looking at the old man's information, Lin Ray was stunned. This guy hid so well that no one had discovered him for such a long time. This guy must be a star sage. He stepped in front of the old man and fixed his eyes on the things in the old man's hands. His gaze became serious. Old man, when will the Dragon Spring secret realm open? 6 hours. After 6 hours, the Dragon Spring secret realm will be fully opened. At that time, no movement is allowed within a radius of a few 100,000 miles. Otherwise, the secret realm will close. If you want to open it again, you will have to wait for a period of time. Hearing the old man's words, Lin Ray did not continue. Since the time was confirmed, there was nothing more to say. He glanced at the place where the scarlet flame tiger was sitting before and then sat down and began to wait. However, in the outside world, in the empty underworld region, Ouyang Zheng explained some of the classification of the cultivation world and did things that were very likely to happen in the path of cultivation, including killing people and robbing them of their treasures. Looking at Fan Jun's face that seemed to understand, Ouyang Zheng let out a long breath and then returned to normal. He understood that more haste, less speed. Fan Jun had just started cultivating not long ago. In addition, his body did not have any cultivation and only had the divine power of the soul controlling pill. Other than instinct, he knew nothing else. Let's stop here for today. From today onwards, you will start cultivating in seclusion. Before you reach the nascent soul realm, you are not allowed to go out. Remember, you are not allowed to go anywhere. Otherwise, looking at Fan Jun, he pointed at the place where Aunt Meng was and continued, she will die. Life or death. It depends on you. Understood. After saying that, he turned and left. Without waiting for Fan Jun to speak, his figure disappeared. Sigh, this person. Looking at Fan Jun leaving, Fan Jun muttered. However, the moment he lowered his head, a storage ring appeared in his eyes. This is... He reached out and grabbed the storage ring in his hand. His spiritual sense instantly connected with the storage ring and his consciousness entered the storage ring. This is... He saw clearly that in the storage ring, other than the life storage, the rest were the pieces of dazzling spirit stones. These things were what Fan Jun needed the most now. Immediately, there were elixirs, talismans, and everything else. Chapter 1360. If it was before, Fan Jun did not have much confidence in entering the nascent soul realm. After all, after knowing the cultivation level, he knew that he was facing a huge gap. However, with the cultivation resources in the storage ring, everything was different. I hope I can break through quickly. After saying that, he started to cultivate the cultivation techniques that Ouyang Zhen gave him. In the netherworld, in the secluded valley, 6 hours passed very quickly. Lin Rei was still sitting at the side, resting with his eyes closed. As for the remaining people, except for Lao Bai, his wife, and the red flame tiger, the others were all standing. No one dared to sit down. Grand Elder, it's time to start the Dragon's Spring secret realm. After waiting for a long time and seeing that it was about time, Worryless stepped forward and said to the Grand Elder, "You brat!" Looking at Worryless, the old man was furious. Previously, the red flame tiger had told him everything. Little bastard, you've already told others about the things in the secret realm. There's only so much in the secluded valley. Hearing the Grand Elder's reprimand, Worryless helplessly looked at the red flame tiger who had nothing to do. Then, he lowered his head and listened seriously. However, the old man clearly did not want to say much to Worryless. He sighed and said earnestly, "Worryless, this time, when the Dragon's Spring secret realm opens, you'll be outside." You, hearing this, Worryless looked up at the old man. Looking at the old man, he seemed to understand something. Grand Elder, you're not going in, right? Everyone's eyes focused on the two of them. That's right. The old man did not hide anything and nodded. He looked carefree and did not care. It's time to leave. Initially, I wanted to enter, but at that time your cultivation was too weak. Now, with you and those old guys in the sect, I believe that no one will dare to cause trouble in the secluded valley for a short period of time. He understood that the red flame tiger had already said that those who came previously had all been killed. Therefore, he knew that it was time to leave. Grand Elder, you should know that once you leave, there will be no turning back. So many sect masters entered back then, but none of them have returned. Are you willing? He wanted to say something but hesitated. His eyes were filled with reluctance. So what if he was reluctant? This was the rule set by the founder. It was not up to him. Alas, forget it. The rules of the valley cannot be broken. Besides, as the Grand Elder of the Deep Valley, I must set an example. As he spoke, he saw that Wang Yu still wanted to say something, so he hurriedly raised his hand to stop him. All right, stop blabbering. Let's open the Dragon's Spring Mystery Realm first. As he spoke, he took out something that looked like a token from his bosom and walked to an altar in front of him. There was a concave shape on the altar, which corresponded to the token in the old man's hand. Cultivation base, get ready. The secret realm is about to open. After saying those words, he slammed his palm heavily onto the altar. With a kacha sound, the token was accurately embedded in the concave shape. Rumble! Suddenly, the secluded valley began to tremble. The originally clear sky was suddenly covered with dark clouds, and thunder rumbled incessantly. Not simple, Lin Rei said as he felt the changes in the surrounding aura and the strange colors flashing above his head. He got up and walked to the old man's side, standing side by side with him. At this moment, he was serious. He understood that this place was definitely not as simple as he thought. Perhaps there really was a small world inside. Who knows? Rumble. As time passed, the rumbling sounds became louder and louder. In front of them, the originally empty space suddenly became restless. The next moment, a vortex appeared out of nowhere, as if it had never disappeared. It's appeared. Seeing the vortex appear, the old man's face was filled with excitement, and his eyes were filled with madness. It's been 1,000 years. Finally, my mission is completed. He turned his head and looked at Wang Yu with a serious expression. Remember, the rules of the secluded valley cannot be broken. Find a successor and groom him well. I will wait for you inside. After saying those words, he turned around and ignored the old man. At this moment, everyone's eyes were fixed on the vortex. Let's go. Lin Rei's senses were very strong. Just now, he felt that the space tunnel was connected and he could enter. After saying that, he walked in. The red flaming tiger and the rest naturally followed behind him. Swish! Suddenly, when Lin Rei arrived in front of the vortex and stepped in with one foot, the sound of something breaking through the air could be heard from the other side of the vortex. Not good. Retreat. After saying that, he quickly retreated and distanced himself from the entrance of the vortex. When Lin Rei retreated, the others naturally did not dare to delay. How powerful was Lin Rei? Even he had to step on the vortex. Naturally, they did not dare to stay any longer. Brother Lei, why? It's coming. Not understanding what the red flaming tiger said, Lin Rei raised his hand and circulated his cultivation. He looked as if he was ready to attack at any time. Poof! Finally, the sound of something breaking through the air was getting closer. Finally, a bloody light rushed out of the vortex with a shocking murderous aura and rushed towards Lin Rei. Brother Lei, be careful. Feeling the murderous aura, the red flaming tiger squinted and quickly reminded him. Ha! Pretending to be mysterious. He raised his hand. A devouring force flashed from Lin Rei's hand. Suddenly, the bloody light that was flying in front of him collided with Lin Rei's power. The originally violent, murderous aura began to retract at this moment. Clang! A sound similar to the sound of a sword rang out. Lin Rei, who was closest to it, felt it. A strange look flashed in his eyes, and he immediately grabbed it in his hand. Ding! Discovered a first-grade Dao artifact. Ding! The first-grade Dao artifact is covered with a dense murderous aura. Host, please be careful. This item can easily affect the mind, especially those who have killed the host too much. Oh? Hearing the system notification, Lin Rei frowned. He had heard of Dao artifact before. Dao artifact was above Saint artifact. A first-grade Dao artifact actually appeared here and flew out from the other side of the vortex. Since that was the case, What kind of world was on the other side to have such an item? At this moment, Lin Rei was even more curious. Suppress for me. Feeling the murderous aura in his hand beginning to counterattack, it began to seep into Lin Rei's body. Suddenly, Lin Rei was stunned and hurriedly activated the devouring heaven art. A mere murderous aura dares to try to devour me. The devouring force increased. Suddenly, the murderous aura under Lin Rei's devouring force began to flow into Lin Rei's spiritual palace. This energy is so pure. His cultivation that had been stagnant for a long time began to improve after absorbing the murderous aura. Although it was not as good as the floating treasure mirror, it was still very impressive. Ding. Weapon, Wenzong, first-grade Dao artifact, can be upgraded with killing. The user must have a natural killing physique or be a Buddhist to suppress the murderous aura. Otherwise, it will be devoured and controlled by Wenzong and become a killing tool. Chapter 1361. Wenzong. Hearing the system mention the name of the weapon in his hand and the power it displayed, the name Wenzong was indeed very suitable for him. Wenzong buried everything. This made Lin Rei want to know the creator of this weapon. To be able to refine such a powerful weapon, it meant that the creator was very confident. Furthermore, his heart was very murderous. Brother Lei, how is it? Seeing Lin Rei standing still and the murderous aura emitted by the weapon being suppressed, the scarlet flame tiger came before Lin Rei and asked. At this moment, everyone's eyes were focused on the two of them. They wanted to see the result. Of course, more importantly, they wanted to see how powerful this weapon was. Being able to fly out of the dragon's spring secret realm on its own without a master, this caused everyone to be shocked. Especially the people from the secluded valley. They had been guarding the dragon's spring for generations, and such a thing had never happened before. However, at this moment, not bad. This weapon is very powerful. At the very least, the current me is still unable to use it as I wish. What? Brother Lei, even you? The scarlet flame tiger was shocked. Everyone was shocked. Others might not know, but he was very clear about how powerful Lin Rei was. Now, even he was unable to use it. Didn't that mean that this weapon's grade was very high? Sigh, what's there to be surprised about? If you can't use it, then so be it. This weapon is too evil. It requires a murderous heart. This means that everyone here, including me, after using this weapon for a long time, will eventually become this weapon's slave. In the end, they will be at its beck and call, and will no longer have their own consciousness. Hiss! Hearing Lin Rei's explanation, everyone present couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. They looked at Wenzong in shock. Subconsciously, they thought of the frightening scene earlier and subconsciously took a step back. Snatch! What a joke! In Lin Rei's place, snatching was fine. However, you must have the ability to do so. Even if you managed to snatch it, it would be useless. Other things aside, this Wenzong, if anyone here used it, they would immediately become its slave. Lin Rei took in everyone's actions. He smiled and casually placed Wenzong into his storage ring. Let's go. Let's see what happened in the dragon's spring for such a weapon to flow out. At this moment, he really wanted to find the answer. A grade 1 Dao artifact was able to appear in this place. This caused him to be extremely shocked. Furthermore, what was going on inside? He did everything he could to escape, but he risked his life to rush out. After saying that, he turned around and took a step forward, disappearing before everyone's eyes. Brother Lei, wait for me. Seeing that Lin Rei had disappeared, the scarlet flaming tiger became anxious. Old White, hurry up and follow him. It's very dangerous inside, and we're very close at any moment. Do you understand? As he spoke, he casually flung out his hand, and a wisp of spiritual qi condensed into a long rope that connected Lao Bai and his family. The other end of the rope was also tied to his body. At this time, the scarlet flame tiger was relieved and stepped into the whirlpool. Lin Rei and the others left. Grand Elder looked at Lu Ding and the others and asked, "You still want them to enter?" Indeed, they could enter the dragon's spring secret realm. This was a rule that had been set before. However, after what happened just now, he also felt that something was wrong. He hoped that Lu Ding and the others would not enter. He was afraid that those who entered might not be able to come out. City Lord, we are willing to go together. Isn't it just a secret realm? Furthermore, as the men of Huang Hui City, we are here to protect our country. Now that we have encountered something that we don't need, it's impossible for us to shrink back at the last minute. Yes, it's impossible. We are willing to go together. We are willing to follow the City Lord and explore the Dragon's Spring secret realm. At this point, Grand Elder did not have anything to say. Since they themselves did not care, then he had nothing to worry about. Look after the valley. After saying that to Daylily, he turned around and entered the whirlpool, disappearing from the underworld. Let's go. As soon as Grand Elder left, Lu Ding took the lead and followed closely behind. Just like this, the originally empty space was now only left with Daylily, standing there in a daze. Actually, he also wanted to go in. He also wanted to see what it was like inside. Especially after the first-grade Dao artifact appeared just now. He really wanted to see what was happening inside. Unfortunately, reality did not allow him to do so. In the secret realm, the sky and earth were blood-red, and the thick smell of blood permeated the air. To put it nicely, this was a world. To put it bluntly, this was a battlefield. On the ground, corpses were everywhere, and blood flowed like a river. This scene was no different from a battlefield. However, what was surprising was that in the blood, there was a pure spiritual chi of heaven and earth. It was very dense, and even the valley outside could not compare to this place. Whoosh! In this silent world, a whirlpool flashed, and then a figure struggled out of the whirlpool. Huff! What's going on? The smell of blood entered his body through his breathing. Suddenly, the blood chi began to gather in his body. This place is... Looking over, the sky and earth were blood-red. That scene was very eye-catching. System, investigate this region. Ding. Okay, investigating. Host, please wait a moment. After saying that, the system fell into silence. Lin Rei did not stay idle, and his consciousness began to spread out in all directions with him, as the center. How many people have died to cause this world to become like this? In his consciousness, the entire world was blood-red. He meant that the ground was filled with corpses. This made Lin Rei think of the massacre of his family. Scram, get out of here! Suddenly, an explosive shout rang out from Linley's mouth. Immediately, a golden light awoke within Linley's body. The baleful aura which had entered his body, under the effect of the golden light, was instantly purified and disappeared. Humph! After coldly snorting, Lin Rei turned around and looked at the whirlpool behind him. After feeling the terror of this place, he had no choice but to protect the Scarlet Flame Tiger and the others. He had the protection of the devouring heavenly art, so it was nothing. After all, the devouring heavenly art could refine all living things. It was not a problem for the blood chi. However, the Scarlet Flame Tiger and the others were different. They were demonic beasts, and the blood chi in their bodies was already very strong. If they were guided by the blood chi, they would definitely lose control and their bestial nature would be unleashed. At that time, it would be troublesome. Whoosh! Just as he was thinking, the whirlpool moved, and the Scarlet Flame Tiger's figure appeared in front of Lin Rei. Soul-locking formation. Suddenly, the moment the Scarlet Flame Tiger appeared, without waiting for the blood chi in the surroundings to react, Lin Rei used a protective formation to lock it in place. Brother Lei Yu. Looking at the formation around him, the Scarlet Flame Tiger was puzzled. Go to the side. If you don't want anything to happen to Old Bai's family, then hurry up and move aside. Chapter 1362. Oh. Although they did not know what was going on, they still cooked and stayed aside obediently. They did not want to make any noise for fear of disturbing Lin Ray. With the help of the Flaming Tiger's cultivation chain, White and the others appeared not long after the Flaming Tiger came out. Soul-locking array. Suddenly, 3 soul-locking formations appeared and imprinted themselves on the bodies of Lao Bai and the other 2, especially on the body of the little white ape. Because the ape was still young, Linley was not very relieved in the end, so he set up 2 more formations, both of which were used to isolate the evil blood aura. Okay. Hearing this, the Flaming Tiger quickly stepped forward, looked at Lin Ray, and asked the question in its heart. Brother Lei, just now, Lin Ray was speechless. Looking at the Flaming Tiger, Lin Ray's eyes flashed with a touch of helplessness. He really wanted to know how the Flaming Tiger could survive until now. How could it not understand such a simple principle? He rolled his eyes at Little White, then pointed to the surroundings and explained, "The surroundings are full of evil blood chi. When I came in just now I was almost killed. If I am already like this, what about you? What kind of scene do you think you will be in when the blood chi fills your hearts?" Suddenly, everyone understood. They knew the answer very well. There were only 2 final results. 1, they would become killing tools, and 2, they would explode and die. Not necessarily. White and the other 2 repeatedly thanked Lin Ray. They knew that Lin Ray cared about them, and they felt warm in their hearts. Looking at the 4 people, Lin Ray shook his head and waved his hand with a wry smile. He said indifferently, "Let's go. Let's walk around in front. Brother Lei, aren't we waiting for the Grand Elder of the Deep Valley?" Them? Linley pondered deeply for a moment when he heard Senior White, and then he shook his head. "There's no need to wait. That old fellow should be fine. As for Lu Ding and the others, they came here to temper themselves. If I were to interfere, then their tempering wouldn't be tempering anymore." After that, he did not give them a chance to talk again, and turned to walk away. "You bastard!" Seeing that Lin Ray had left, the Crimson Flame Tiger came to Senior White's side and lectured earnestly. "Senior White, actually, there are some things that you don't have to deliberately mention. Brother Lei already knows. Just like Lu Ding and the others. If they come in, that's their problem. It has nothing to do with us. You have to understand that there are many pitiful people in the world. How many can you save? If that's the case, I might as well take care of myself. As long as I'm fine, everything will be fine." "That's right, old Bai. Let's not care about these things in the future." Fangxin agreed from the side. Senior White fell silent for a long time when he heard this, and then he nodded and said, "All right, I understand. All right, let's go." He jogged a few steps with Senior White and finally caught up to Lin Ray. In this place, following Lin Ray was the wisest choice. Otherwise, there would only be one outcome waiting for them, and that was death. Ding. Scanning complete. Would the host like to check? Lin Ray, who was walking in front, stopped in his tracks and was stunned. "Brother Tiger, this. Is Brother Lei regretting it and wants to go back?" Senior White looked at Lin Ray and asked. The Crimson Flame Tiger was speechless. In response to Senior White's question, the Crimson Flame Tiger really wanted to pry open his head and see what was inside. "Lower your voice. Brother Lei's situation is very normal. You'll know in the future." After saying that, he walked to the side and began to guard Lin Ray. Senior White and the other 2 followed suit. In the system space, Lin Ray looked up at the sky. "Hurry up, don't waste time." Ding. Would the host like to check? Damn it. Hearing that the system was still acting as usual, Lin Ray was helpless. Open check. Ding. Okay. In the next moment, a screen appeared in front of Lin Ray. A few lines of words fell into Lin Ray's eyes. "The bloody battlefield is a place dyed red with blood. This place is full of killing and blood. because of the long-term baptism of blood. This place is full of blood evil chi and has an illusory effect. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention that this place has the greatest influence on those who have killed countless people and have strong killing intent. Lastly, let me remind you that there is something very interesting here. The bloody battlefield. After exiting the system space, he looked around. Previously, he thought that this place was just a projection. Now, after hearing the system's words, it seemed that this was not a good place. A place dyed red with blood, and it asked me to pay attention to the things inside. It seems that this place is not very safe. With that thought, the chaotic dragon spear appeared in his hand. He circulated his cultivation and was ready to fight at any time. Brother Lei Yu, although he did not know what was going on, the crimson flame tiger still circulated his cultivation and clenched his fists, ready to fight. Be careful. This place is not that simple. If you are not careful, you might lose your life. Then, he looked at Lao Bai. Lin Rei said with guilt in his eyes, "The three of you, if you are afraid now, I can send you back. We want to open this place. You are just treated well. There is no need for you to take risks with us." Yes, Brother Lei is right. No matter how stupid the crimson flame tiger was, he understood. He looked at Lao Bai and continued, "Lao Bai, if you want to leave, make a decision quickly." Aya, looking at Lin Rei and Lao Bai's serious expressions and the smell of blood in the air, he knew that this place might be dangerous. But was it possible for him to leave now? Thinking about it, he glanced at his wife and said resolutely, "No, I will not leave." Lin Rei and the Crimson Flame Tiger looked at each other and were surprised. Obviously, Lao Bai's decision surprised them. Although it's dangerous here, it's still a good place to improve one's cultivation. I've been living too comfortably for a while now, so my cultivation hasn't made much progress. Therefore, I want to break through here and try to catch up to Brother Hu. As the saying goes, it is good to have a dream, but a dream is not realistic. Catch up with the Crimson Flame Tiger? What a joke. At least, it would be impossible for him to do it in 1,000 years. Moreover, even if he reached the Crimson Flame Tiger's current level, it would be a level higher. However, looking at Lao Bai's resolute expression, Lin Rei could not bear to give him a blow. He nodded and said, "Okay, then I will work hard." Since Lao Bai had decided not to leave, they should not stay any longer. "Okay, little tiger, protect Lao Bai's family later. Remember, do not act rashly. Leave everything to me. I will bring you out of here safely. Don't worry." Chapter 1363. Not long after Lin Rei left, the space vortex connecting the bloody battlefield and the secluded valley twisted. Then, the Grand Supreme of the secluded valley walked out. When the Grand Supreme appeared and saw the bloody space in front of him, he was stunned on the spot. Confusion appeared in his eyes. What's going on? Looking at the scene in front of him, the Grand Supreme was shocked. He had been to the Dragon's Spring secret realm before. Back then, there were still green mountains and clear waters. Although there were dangers, it was completely different now. This was clearly a contrast between the two extremes. One was green mountains and clear waters. The other was a bloody battlefield filled with murderous aura. Not good. Suddenly, under the power of the Taishang's contemplation, a desire to kill rose in his heart. In the meantime, his body uncontrollably picked up a broken longsword from the ground, turned around, and pointed it at the vortex's entrance. What's going on? The Grand Supreme understood that the current situation was not good. If this continued, when Lu Ding and the rest appeared, there would be a bloody massacre, and this bloody battlefield would become even more bloody. The Tao is formless, but it gives birth to heaven and earth. The Great Tao is emotionless, but it moves the sun and the moon. The Great Tao is nameless, but it gives birth to all living things. I do not know its name, but I call it the Tao. The Tao has clear and turbid movement and stillness. When the sky is clear and the earth is turbid, the sky moves and the earth is still. Men are clear and women are turbid, men move and women are still. Falling to the bottom of the stream, but being born, closing his eyes to rest, the Grand Supreme began to recite the Tranquility Sutra in his heart. The Tranquility Sutra was not a combat technique, but if there was clear, one could get rid of the turbid aura in one's body. This Tranquility Sutra was a supreme treasure for cultivators with inner demons. Inside his body, traces of murderous aura rushed out from his body. Such an obvious state made the Grand Supreme happy. At this moment, the murderous intent in his heart decreased by a lot. This is the Dragon Spring secret realm? However, just when the Grand Supreme thought that he could control the murderous intent in his heart, Lu Ding's voice entered his ears. Suddenly, his originally closed eyes opened, and a blood-red color flashed. The murderous intent in his heart surged. Even the Tranquility Sutra was useless. Kill, kill, kill. At this moment, the Grand Supreme started to lose his mind. At this moment, there was only one thought in his mind, and that was to kill the person in front of him. He raised his hand and pointed the longsword in his hand. Lu Ding, who was in the midst of experiencing the world, sensed Grand Supreme's murderous intent. He frowned and took a step back. A long spear appeared in his hand as he took a defensive stance. Grand Supreme, what are you doing? I'm Lu Ding from Huanghui City. Seeing that the Grand Supreme's expression was getting more and more confused, Lu Ding quickly reminded him. However, just as he was reminding Lu Ding, the surrounding blood qi began to transform him. It was just that. Lu Ding had no idea. Quick, get out of here. Quick. Grand Supreme's voice was faintly discernible. Perhaps it was because his voice was too soft that Lu Ding could not hear what Grand Supreme was trying to say. Lu Ding was dumbfounded. If Ruo Lin and Lei Lei were here, they would probably be amused by the two of them. Die! Swoosh, he moved. At that moment, the Grand Supreme's dazed expression disappeared. It was replaced by ruthlessness and brutality. He even felt that he was no longer a human being. Lu Ding felt that Grand Supreme was more like a ferocious beast that only knew how to kill. Grand Supreme, clang? The moment the weapons clashed, Lu Ding was sent flying. He flew in the air, forming a perfect parabola. In the end, he landed perfectly on the ground. Dong dong dong. He landed on the ground. He did not hold the spear in his hand tightly, and it slipped out of his hand. To Lu Ding, being sent flying in one move, he was shocked, angry, and embarrassed. What was going on? He was supposed to bring the city's disciples here to train. What was he doing now? He was being oppressed one-sidedly. Although he did not know Grand Supreme's cultivation level, from the clash just now, there was an obvious difference. It was very obvious. City Lord, what happened to you? A voice filled with worry came from not far away. Hearing this voice, Lu Ding's body trembled. He remembered that he did not come here by himself. Turning around, he did not care about the pain in his body. He shouted towards the entrance, Quick! Quick, leave this place. Quick, go back the way you came. No matter what happens here, don't come in again. Tell Wang Yu. Tell him to seal the Dragon Spring secret realm. Inside, no. The thought of killing someone rose from the bottom of his heart. At this moment, Lu Ding understood a little why Grand Supreme would kill him at all costs. At this moment, he also understood a little what Grand Supreme wanted to say to him just now. The killing intent in his body grew stronger. Just when he was about to lose his mind, he shouted at the group of disciples again, Hurry and get lost. I can't control myself anymore. As he spoke, he stood up and stepped towards the spear. He reached out his hand and the spear flew back into Lu Ding's hand. His eyes were filled with blood as he looked towards the entrance. At this moment, the 20 people should have understood that this was no longer a place that they could bring down. Quickly leave this place. The city lord has lost his mind. The youth at the front understood what was going on. He quickly reminded the people behind him. Then, he quickly turned around and rushed towards the entrance. Quickly leave, quickly! What is going on? Damn, if we leave, what will the city lord do? For a moment, although there were discussions, their bodies were very honest. At this moment, a group of people was rushing towards the exit. The 20 people were originally at the exit. So soon, more than 10 people had stepped into the exit vortex. Get up! Suddenly, a murderous voice was heard. A youth who was a distance away from the exit vortex was terrified. Hearing the voice that was very close to him, he did not dare to turn around and wanted to leave. Unfortunately, Poochie. The sound of flesh being crushed was heard. The figure that was rushing forward was instantly frozen in place. He looked down with a ferocious face and saw the tip of the spear coming out of his chest. His eyes were filled with disbelief. When he turned around, he saw a ferocious face and blood-red eyes appear in front of him. Why did you? As soon as he finished speaking, his voice suddenly stopped. His head tilted and he lost all signs of life. Fortunately, with this, the 19 people in front successfully rushed out of the exit vortex. However, they probably did not know that when they came in, their bodies were already bathed in the evil blood chi. Even if they did not lose their minds as their cultivation increased, the inner demons in their hearts would become more and more serious. In the end, they would be devoured by the inner demons. Chapter 1364. Kakik. Lu Ding pulled out his long spear and raised his head to look at the exit of the whirlpool. A beast-like sound emerged from Lu Ding's mouth. Swish! His figure rushed forward and disappeared from the bloody battlefield, rushing into the exit of the whirlpool. The Grand Supreme, who had not moved, also did not care about the exit of the whirlpool. He turned around and looked in the direction that Lin Ray had left. A bloodthirsty look flashed in his eyes. Kill! Holding the long sword in his hand, he took a step forward and his figure appeared 1,000 meters away. Then, he took another step and his figure disappeared into the distance. However, Lin Ray, who had left, did not know anything that had happened here. Lin Ray had expected that they might be controlled by the bloody aura. However, he did not expect that this group of people would be controlled without any ability to resist. The Grand Supreme of the Deep Valley was especially so. After all, in Lin Ray's opinion, the Deep Valley was guarding the Dragon Spring secret realm and should know some things about it. However, he did not expect that this place was very different from the previous Dragon Spring secret realm. In the depths of the bloody battlefield, Lin Ray and his group walked on the bloody ground. Looking at the mountains of corpses and the sky filled with blood, Lao Bai and his family inexplicably had the thought of leaving. This place was too terrifying for the two of them. Especially when they passed by a few corpses just now, those corpses emitted a faint golden light, which made Lao Bai tremble. Although he could not see the cultivation of the person when he was alive from the corpses, he could roughly guess that this person's cultivation must have exceeded the crepe myrtle realm. Subconsciously, Lao Bai activated his full strength and blasted at the corpses. However, in the end, nothing was left, not even a trace was left on the corpses. In Linley's opinion, Senior White's actions were laughable. He had tried to persuade Senior White earlier, but unfortunately, Senior White didn't know how to cherish it. Now, if Senior White wanted to leave, then Linley would absolutely not escort him. As for the worries of Lao Bai's family of 3, in his opinion, it was completely unnecessary. However, the Scarlet Flame Tiger was different. It was not easy for it to find a companion, so it naturally would not let the other party go so easily. With a thought, Lin Fan took out a fist-sized demonic core from his storage ring, which was emitting a shocking amount of spiritual chi. He handed it to Old White and said with a smile, "Here, this can raise your strength by a few levels. With this, you'll have some protection here. Of course, the most important thing is that absorbing the demon cores here and fighting for a long time will not affect your Tao foundation at all. In fact, it will be beneficial." When Xiao Chun heard the Scarlet Flame Tiger's words, he lowered his head and looked at the demonic core in its hand. Suddenly, a horrifying might surged out from the demonic core. This was the pressure that came from the demonic beast, the pressure that came from the bloodline, and the pressure that came from the cultivation base. This, gulp. Looking at the demon core, Senior White swallowed his saliva with great difficulty. His eyes were filled with passion. To be honest, he really needed these things. They were much better than medicinal pills. After all, medicinal pills were 30% poisonous. However, demonic cores were different. Especially for demonic cores of this level, if he could refine them, he would benefit immensely. You gave it to me. What about you?" Pfft. Lin Rei, who was walking in front, suddenly burst out laughing. There was no other reason than Senior White's words. What was Xiao Hu's level? Even if he had tens of thousands of such low-level demonic cores, it would still be useless. More importantly, why would this brat have such trash in his storage ring? Thinking of this, he locked his gaze on the Scarlet Flame Tiger with a questioning look in his eyes. Looking at Lin Rei's question, the Scarlet Flame Tiger smiled awkwardly. He scratched his head and explained, "Brother Lei, I left this behind in the past. However, after my strength increased tremendously, I did not use it. Later on, I completely forgot about this thing. I only found it when I was packing up some time ago." Saying this, he did not care whether Senior White accepted it or not. He directly stuffed the demon core into Senior White's hand and quickly walked 2 steps forward to walk with Lin Rei. Behind them, looking at the demonic core in his hand, Senior White's eyes became more determined. "Don't worry, Brother Tiger. I will become stronger." Saying this, he put the demonic core into his storage ring. Only a fool would directly entrust such a high-level demonic core to him. Of course, there was another result, which was that he was desperate and did not care about his life. Otherwise, who would be so bored as to seek death? Ding! Discovered a heavenly treasure, a 100,000-year-old heavenly silkworm Ganoderma king. 100,000-year-old? Lin Rei suddenly stopped. Mao Xing was puzzled. In response, the few people behind him also stopped. Where is it? Although he did not know what the heavenly silkworm Ganoderma king was, if the system called it a heavenly treasure, it must be extraordinary. He had known that the system's products would be of high quality. Therefore, it was necessary to search for it. After all, he was in the secret realm. If he did not search for it properly, he would be wasting this opportunity. Ding. Investigation fee, 1 look at the exchange points, or middle-grade netherworld jade. Lin Rei. Hearing the system's notification, Lin Rei inexplicably had the urge to beat someone up. 100,000 middle-grade netherworld jade? This is robbery. It was not easy to get some from the old man in the alchemy guild. Now, the system was asking for 100,000 middle-grade netherworld jade. This wasn't bargaining. This was sucking Linley's blood. This was 100,000 middle-grade netherworld jade or the heavenly silkworm Ganoderma king. Which of the two is more valuable? Ding. The heavenly silkworm Ganoderma king is high. Okay, 100,000 middle-grade netherworld jade. With such a huge difference, how could Lin Rei be presumptuous? Moreover, he also wanted to see what the heavenly silkworm Ganoderma king was. This was the curiosity of an alchemy master and Lin Rei's passion for heavenly treasures. Ding. 100,000 middle-grade netherworld jade has been deducted. Investigation begins. Please wait. Lin Rei came back to his senses. After regaining his consciousness, Zhang Xian began walking forward, as if nothing had happened. Looking at Lin Rei, who was walking ahead, the flaming tiger stepped forward worriedly and asked Lin Rei, "Brother Lei, what should we do next?" Behind them, White and the others were very eager to know the answer. After all, this place was full of dangers and no one knew what would happen next. However, in response to the flaming tiger's question, Lin Rei glanced at it and said, "I have it. Anyway, I have nothing to do. Just treat it as training." The flaming tiger. White and his family. Just like that, the flaming tiger and the others did not speak. On the other hand, Lin Rei waited for the system's response. Ding. Investigation completed. Ding. 10,000 meters ahead, at the bottom of the Blood Sea, the heavenly silkworm Ganoderma King is growing. What the hell? In the Blood Sea? Hearing the system's words, Lin Rei was dumbfounded. So I have to enter the Blood Sea to get the heavenly silkworm Ganoderma King? Ding. Yes. Chapter 1365. Damn you, system. Are you trying to cheat me? I gave you 100,000 mid-grade netherworld jades, and you gave me a heavenly silkworm Ganoderma King, right? Although he was very unhappy, his body was honest. Although he said no, his body was already walking towards the Blood Sea where the heavenly silkworm Ganoderma King was. It was very easy for Lin Rei to get within 10,000 meters. He released his divine sense and instantly locked on to the sky above the Blood Sea. Is this the place? In his divine sense, the Blood Sea was 10,000 meters wide. It was full of evil spirit and the smell of blood filled the whole bloody battlefield. If he didn't know, he would think that this was the blood left by the people who died on the battlefield. Brother Lei, we are. Just follow me. All right. Then, he turned to look at Lao Bai's family of 3. He casually threw the dark fire fan to Lao Bai and said, "Activate it with all your strength. This thing can protect the 3 of you." Then, he looked at the dark fire fan and said, "Xiaohua, protect the 3 of them. Do you understand?" Red Flame Tiger, Lao Bai's family of 3, everyone's eyes were fixed on the dark fire fan. They didn't know who Lin Rei was talking to. However, right at this moment, a childish voice sounded from the middle of the crowd. "I heard it, big brother. Don't worry. With Xiaohua here, no demons or ghosts can take these 3 low-grade demonic beasts away." Lin Rei. The 3 low-grade demonic beasts that Xiaohua mentioned were obviously Lao Bai's family of 3. However, it was true. Even if the Red Flame Tiger's bloodline was low, his strength was incoherent. Even Xiaohua couldn't be presumptuous. Although they hadn't met officially, Lin Rei had told him about the Red Flame Tiger. Xiaohua, the spirit of the Dark Fire Fan, was made by Lin Rei. It was a 2nd-grade martial saint. As for Xiaohua, it was made based on Jinin's appearance. Although he knew it was just his obsession, he was unwilling to give it up. Brother Lei, the child who spoke just now has quite a personality." The corners of his mouth twitched as he looked at Lin Rei. As for Senior White and the others, they stood on the spot with embarrassed expressions, and they didn't know what to say. At this moment, everyone was silent. However, only Xiaohua acted as if nothing had happened. Big brother, hurry up. It's very uncomfortable here. Xiaohua doesn't like it." Big brother, when he saw Lin Rei remain silent, Xiaohua spoke once more. When faced with this, Lin Rei returned to his senses, and he looked at Senior White and the others before he waved his hand and said, Please don't mind him. Xiaohua is like this. He doesn't know how to control his mouth." "And you, Xiaohua, what are you saying? Hurry up and apologize. Tell the Empress to protect Lao Bai and the other 2. Do you hear me?" As if sensing Lin Rei's dissatisfaction, the mysterious fire fan dimmed. "Sorry, it was Little Flame's fault just now. It's okay. Don't worry. It's not strange." Senior Bai and the other two waved their hands hastily. Let's go. Without saying anything else, he turned around and led the red flame tiger and the others toward the blood sea. They were not very fast. After all, there were 3 demonic beasts with low cultivation levels in the group. Therefore, the original 4 hours had been delayed for a day before they arrived at their destination. This place is? When everyone saw the scene in front of them, they were shocked. Rather than being shocked, it was more appropriate to say that they were terrified, frightened, and even terrified. It was too terrifying. This was the blood sea. Moreover, looking into the distance, it seemed to be endless. How could Senior White and the others not be shocked? When had they ever seen such a scene? Even the red flame tiger was shocked. If Lin Ray had not known about it beforehand, he would probably be the same as the red flame tiger and the others. Looking at the 3 people who could not control their expressions, Lin Ray was sweating profusely. You guys, how old are you? Can't you be a little more calm? As he spoke, he rolled his eyes at everyone. He walked to the blood sea and locked his eyes on a certain spot in the blood sea. System, can you lock the specific location of the heavenly silkworm Ganoderma King? In the system space, Lin Ray opened his mouth and asked. Ding, no. What do you mean? Aren't you the system? Aren't you omnipotent? What's wrong? Is this all you can do? Ding, let me clarify that the system is not omnipotent. Moreover, it's already good enough that I can point it out to you. Do you still want the specific location? Moreover, the most important thing is that the blood evil chi here is the most dense. More importantly, those who died here are supreme powerhouses. If the blood of so many powerhouses is mixed together, even the system can't accurately eliminate the location of the heavenly silkworm Ganoderma King. Therefore, everything depends on the host. Do your best and believe in yourself. Listening to the system's blabbering, Lin Ray's mouth twitched. Can I? Damn, this is what a human being said. It seems that the system is not a human being. Even if it's not a human being, it can't say this, right? Come on, damn it, this must be more than 10,000 meters, right? Looking at the width of the blood sea, Lin Ray found it hard to imagine the scene of bathing in the blood sea and searching for treasures of heaven and earth. If this was in the past, he would have jumped in without hesitation. But now, you guys wait here. I'll go down and take a look. Plop. Without waiting for the red flame tiger to speak, Lin Ray released his saint's spiritual chi to protect himself. Then, without any hesitation, he rushed into the blood sea. Brother Tiger, Brother Lay going in like this, is it really okay? Yeah, I can feel that the blood evil chi here is very dense. If, hearing the 2 of them, the red flame tiger fixed his gaze on the blood sea. He was very worried. Others might not know, but he clearly remembered that back then, Lin Ray lived in seclusion in order to suppress the blood evil chi. Now, he rushed into the blood sea and bathed in the blood evil chi. It's okay. Brother Lay should know what to do. Although that was what they said, they couldn't help but pray in their hearts for Lin Fan to return safely. However, just as the demons were worrying, Linley was swimming freely in the sea of blood. He looked as though he was having a great time. Within the sea of blood, Linley's face was filled with shock. On the outside, he could sense that the sea of blood was filled with a bloody aura. However, when he truly entered the sea of blood, he could truly sense that there was a pure law within the sea of blood. System, what kind of law is the law here? The blood law. It's a very special law. Ding. The system recommends that the host can comprehend the blood law. Oh. Hearing the system's words, Lin Ray went silent. He had never heard of the blood law, but since the system said so, it should be right. Chapter 1366. Of course, I'm not telling you to learn this law right now. What do you mean? Lin Ray didn't understand. How many laws do you have in your body now? Don't bite off more than you can chew. Wait until you've cultivated 70% of the laws you've learned before you start learning the law of blood. Lin Rei was helpless. After all this time, he couldn't learn it. In that case, what was the point of saying so much? He was both excited and helpless now. Alright, hurry up and find the heavenly silkworm Ganoderma King. With your current cultivation, you can only stay in this blood sea for a day. After a day, the remnant souls in this blood sea will devour you. At that time, not to mention you, even if Hong Jun, a Dao integration realm cultivator, came here, he might not be able to return alive. You can't be serious. Lin Rei was a little scared. Of course, what do you think? After that, the system department spoke again. Lin Rei didn't have a temper. Feeling the law of blood in his body, he was a little tempted. Unfortunately, he suppressed it in the end. He moved and continued down. However, this time, Lin Rei ignored everything around him. His only goal was the heavenly silkworm Ganoderma King. Silence. There was only one day. It wasn't that easy to stand up in the blood sea that was more than 10,000 meters long. Of course, if he used his divine sense, not to mention 10,000 meters, even 1,000,000 miles would be nothing for Lin Rei. Unfortunately, this place, after entering the blood sea, Lin Rei realized that he couldn't use his divine sense in this blood sea. The only thing he could see clearly was the area 5 meters around him. This reminded Lin Rei of the time when he had just started cultivating. The only difference was the difference in cultivation. In the Holy World, in the main hall of the Xuanzong Sect, Lin Yun sat on the sect master's seat and looked at the people below with a trace of helplessness in his eyes. Father, where are you? Where are you? Right now, the Xuanzong Sect is besieged on all sides and is in imminent danger. If you don't come back, it's possible that the Xuanzong Sect will be destroyed in my hands. During this period of time, the Xuanzong Sect was in high spirits, but as the territory of the Xuanzong Sect grew larger and larger, it was also constantly sending a threatening signal to its enemies. After all, no one wanted a newly risen sect to continue developing in such a state. Sect leader, what should we do now? Below, Hong Lian's face was filled with worry. Thinking of how powerful the enemy was, she felt a little breathless. That's right, Grandmaster. Right now, the sect is besieged from all sides. We're surrounded by utmost powerful beings. Even though the sect has a defensive formation, it's not a solution. The sect's disciples need to train, and the sect's resources are running out. If this goes on, I'm afraid the sect. Ming Ming didn't continue. The crowd understood why Ming Ming did not continue speaking. Everyone understood this point very well. However, what could they do? The other party was a late Earth Sage. Right now, the only solution was for the sect's perfect Dao Fruit Saints to break through their shackles and enter the Earth Sage realm. Only then would they have the strength to make a move. But how could that be possible? Lin Yun was on the verge of collapse. During this period of time, the pressure had been increasing. If he could, he would rather be a profligate son who didn't experience the world. But that was impossible. As Lin Rei's son, he was destined to bear this burden. Looking at everyone below, Lin Yun sighed and said, "If that's the case, cultivation. What can you do? Tell me. The sect is in such a difficult situation right now, and we need your help." Below, everyone looked at each other helplessly. They also wanted to help, but they were powerless because they weren't strong enough. If the sect leader is here, or if Xie Feng is here, we might be able to withstand this tribulation. Lin Yun's gaze locked onto Xian Guang. That's right. Even if father isn't here, there's still Xie Feng. Suddenly, he thought of something and turned into a streak of light, disappearing from the main hall. Everyone was puzzled by Lin Yun's action, but they didn't say anything. They could only wait silently. On the Xuanzong Sect's skycloud peak, Lin Yun released his spiritual sense and instantly locked onto Lin Ling. "I hope you won't disappoint me this time." Then, his figure flashed and disappeared. When he reappeared, he was beside Lin Ling-er. At this moment, Lin Ling-er was lying in the sea of flowers, bored to death. When she sensed someone coming, she immediately got up. Father! Lin Ling-er was stunned when she saw that it was her father. How long had it been since her father came? Ling-er. Looking at his daughter, Lin Yun's eyes were filled with guilt. Back then, when he asked her to go to the cemetery, if he could have pleaded for her. Father, what's the matter? Sigh. Lin Yun sighed and said, Ling-er, your master, did she leave you a jade slip or a jade pendant? My master? This term hadn't appeared for a long time. As for her master, it seemed that she hadn't seen her master for a long time. But, back then, when master left, she did leave me a jade pendant, but Lin Yun didn't listen to the rest of the sentence. He quickly said, It's good that she did. Ling-er, the sect is currently besieged on all sides. Our opponents can't keep up with us. Uncle and aunt don't have the ability to deal with them. Your grandfather isn't here, so the only person we can find is your master. If your master can help, perhaps she can really help the sect tide over this crisis. Lin Ling-er was stunned when she heard that. She knew that the sect was in trouble, but she didn't expect things to develop to this point. She stretched out her hand and took out a jade pendant. I'll send a message to my master and ask her to come. Then, she circulated her cultivation and poured spiritual energy into the jade pendant. Master, the Xuanzong sect is in trouble. Grandfather isn't here, so only you can help the sect tide over this crisis. In a secret realm somewhere in the holy world, a young woman was sitting cross-legged on a cliff. Suddenly, a white light rushed out from her body. A jade pendant? She lowered her head and looked at the white light in her arms. She frowned. She remembered that she had only given the jade pendant to 2 people. In her knowledge, one of them was a sprinter and wouldn't send her a message. So, that was a little girl appeared in her mind. Oh, this little girl, why did you suddenly think of me? She smiled and took out the jade pendant. After activating it, the girl's voice sounded. Master, the Xuanzong sect is in trouble. I'm not here, so only you can help the sect tide over this crisis. The Xuanzong sect is in trouble? She frowned and thought for a while. In the end, she shook her head helplessly. It's time to go and take a look. But this brat and the sect are in trouble. He sure is happy to come. As he spoke, he turned into a streak of light and disappeared into the horizon. Chapter 1367. Whoosh. In the Xuanzong sect, Lin Yun and Lin Ling-er waited quietly. At this moment, a white light soared into the sky from the communication jade pendant. Quick, see what your master said. From Lin Yun's attitude, it could be seen that the Xuanzong sect was truly in trouble this time. Otherwise, he wouldn't have acted like this. Lin Ling-er nodded and activated the communication jade pendant. Suddenly, a voice sounded in their ears. Don't worry, I'm on my way back. Remember, before I return, protect that little thing's sect well. No matter who it is, as long as the sect, family, or other forces participated in this siege, I will make them regret their decision for the rest of their lives. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Yun's anxious expression faded a little. However, he was still a little nervous. After all, no one knew where Xiefeng was. Would she be able to rush back before those sects made their move? Or he wasn't sure if there were other powers behind this attack. He was concerned about the violet bloodline in Linley's body, but he was afraid that the profound sect wasn't the only one who had discovered the existence of the violet bloodline. There was also another group of sects who had made their move. Sigh. He sighed and waved his hand weakly. Ling-er, the sect is really in danger during this period of time. If there's no need, stay in the sect and cultivate. As you can see, the sect is in a very difficult situation this time. This is the result of not having strength. So, cultivate hard and try to take your life into your own hand. At this point, Lin Rei's figure inexplicably appeared in his mind. Your grandfather pursued this all his life. He didn't want his fate to be controlled by others, and he didn't want to see us bullied, so, cultivate hard and try to become stronger. He patted his daughter's shoulder and said earnestly. Lin Linger raised her head and looked at her father with a trace of determination in her eyes. Father, I understand. I also pursue this. Master told me before. I understand your worries. Don't worry, I will cultivate hard and become stronger. Then, I will protect you. Will you help us? Looking at his daughter, Lin Yun didn't say much and smiled. All right, let's go to Father's cultivation room to cultivate. The spiritual energy there has a layering effect, so it will be faster for you to cultivate. Then, he handed the cultivation room token to Lin Ling turned into a stream of light, and disappeared into the horizon. At this moment, he did not have so much time to waste. Now that the sect was preparing for war, they could be attacked at any time. Father, don't worry. I will definitely become strong enough to protect all of you, strong enough to shock the entire world. As he spoke, he glanced at the token in his hand. His eyes flashed with determination as he turned around and left. If Ruo Lin were here, he would be able to see that Lin Ling was not heading towards his cultivation room. Instead, she was leaving the main gate of the sect. If he had known that Lin Ling would be like this, he would have used extreme methods to stop her. Unfortunately, he didn't know that Lin Yun had returned to the main hall of the Xuanzong sect. After returning to the sect master's seat, Lin Yun looked at the people below and recounted what had just happened, including the matter of Xiefeng's attack. Everyone, if Xiefeng comes, then our Xuanzong sect should be fine. But what I'm most afraid of is that Xiefeng won't be able to make it in time. At that time, I hope that you can cultivate and do your best to protect the sect. We can't let Father's sect be destroyed in our hands. Hearing this, the people below were moved. On the surface, Lin Yun was the sect master, but they still obeyed Lin Rei's orders. And for Lin Rei, they were willing to give up everything, including their lives. Protect the sect and expel the enemies. Now that they had gathered their morale, they just had to wait for the enemies to arrive, as well as Xiefeng. Good. Since that's the case, you may leave. Take your disciples and be ready at all times. When the enemies arrive, we will fight. I want to see what's so great about the sects in the holy world. After saying that, he waved his hand and the people left. In an instant, there were only a few people left in the main hall. And those who were left were the core of the sect, or even the most loyal people who had no possibility of betrayal. Hong Lian was among them, and so were Bing and Ying. Now that the sect was in trouble, they naturally couldn't hide in the secret realm. Everyone, is there still no news of Father? Lin Yun asked as he looked at Hong Lian and the others. He hoped so much that he could find his father, because then, he could be the carefree person again. Without power, without desire, without life and death, he only had a peaceful heart. The people below were silent. No one spoke, and Ying and Bing didn't say anything either. When the sect was besieged, the workers began to look for Lin Rei. Although the Xuanzong sect's intelligence network hadn't been fully established, they still obtained some information. Sect Master, I only found out that Master went to the depths of the Eastern Sea. As for where he went, I don't know. The Eastern Sea is extremely dangerous. I heard that even Earth Sage cultivators don't return after entering, so everyone lowered their heads even more and their faces flushed red. They felt very helpless about this matter. The strongest person present was only an early-stage Dao Fruit Saint. Compared to an Earth Saint, they were simply worlds apart. Sigh. Since that's the case, we can only wait. Then, he looked at Hong Lian and said, Tell the disciples to wait at the coast of the Eastern Sea. If they find Sect Master, they are to inform him of the sect's situation. As for you all, a smile flashed across his face as he looked at everyone. Your cultivation is the cornerstone of the sect. You are the sky of the sect. Nothing can happen to you. Before my father left, he left behind a formation. He said that if used properly, it can be attacked by Earth Sage cultivators, so, during this period, I hope that everyone can study it awkwardly. Try to master the formation before that group of people besieges the sect. Then, he raised his hand and a formation plate appeared in front of everyone. With a buzzing sound, a wave of pressure surged out from the formation. This is a formation. No one present was lower than a true sage. Well, except for Lin Yun. Feeling the power of the formation, a trace of hope ignited in everyone's hearts. If they could master the formation, they might be able to withstand this crisis. Seeing that no one spoke, Lin Yun said, "Then, everyone, thank you for your hard work. We will not shirk our duty." Then, everyone took the formation plate and left the main hall. Looking at the departing figures, Lin Yun sighed. I hope that this time we can get through it safely. Don't let the same thing happen again. Chapter 1368. The Nethervoid Realm. The Netherworld Realm. Within the Blood Sea of the Netherworld Dragon Spring Pocket Realm. Right now, Linley was swimming through the Blood Sea, all for the sake of trading 100,000 mid-grade netherjade for information on the celestial silkworm Ganoderma King. Half a day had passed since he entered the Blood Sea, but he still hadn't found any information about the heavenly silkworm Ganoderma King. However, although he didn't find the target, he found many interesting things at the bottom of the Blood Sea. There were weapons, storage rings, armors, and even formation plates. Moreover, the level of the formation plates here made Lin Ray speechless. He knew that the level of his array formation was far inferior to the array formation found here. There was no comparison at all. This made Lin Ray even more curious about the Blood Sea. The fact that such a level of formation plate could appear here meant that the people who died here must have been very powerful. However, because these things had been stored in the Blood Sea for a long time, some of their effects had disappeared. Lin Ray had used up all his knowledge to be able to pull out the level of the formation plate. As for the Holy World and the Xuanzong Sect's crisis, he really didn't know. If he knew, he would have used everything he had to go back and kill all those people who didn't know what was good for them. Ding! There is a strange movement 100 meters ahead. 100 meters ahead? Hearing the system's sudden notification, Lin Ray was stunned. Then, he didn't care if there was danger ahead. He jumped up and instantly appeared 100 meters away. He saw a faint golden light in front of him. Although it wasn't very deep, it was indeed an unusual existence in the Blood Sea. As he thought about this, he took a step forward. Carrying the bloody mud, he arrived at the spot where the golden light had flashed. He stretched out his hand, and just as Linley was about to make contact with the golden light, a powerful suction force appeared. Linley's body was no longer under his control. His vision darkened, and he disappeared into the sea of blood. Damn it, how, after a long time, feeling the suction force disappear and his strength return, Lin Ray's face was full of confusion and vigilance. With the cultivation of the round bowl of Dao fruit, how could he not be shocked when he was powerless to fight back? He looked up and saw that he was in a pitch-black space. Right in front of him, there was an arched door. The arched door seemed to connect heaven and earth. The pressure from it shocked Lin Ray. What kind of demonic beast is this? His gaze fell on the arched door. On one side, demonic beasts were rampaging, forming a scene of demonic beasts. On the other side, it was a sunny day with flowers, birds, and fairies everywhere. The two sides formed a very clear contrast. It felt very strange. Ding! This is a cult beast, a demonic beast unique to the Netherworld. Why aren't you saying anything? Seeing that the system had stopped explaining, Linley asked. Tisk tsk. To be honest, I really don't have the heart to hurt you. But since you said so, I will tell you. As he spoke, Linley's gaze once more fell upon the colt, and the system's voice rang out in his ears. The colt race is extremely powerful. Their young are born with the power of an immortal exalt. What's more, as they mature, their power will increase at a rapid rate as well. As for fully grown colts, they have appeared in the primordial era. Their power has reached the level of immortality, or even higher. Moreover, the demonic beasts on the stone wall are basically very rare. So, are you sure you want to continue asking? Lin Ray was speechless. Lin Ray didn't want to say anything. What was this? Wasn't he just asking? Why did it make him feel so uncomfortable in the end? Moreover, they were born with the cultivation level of Immortal Prime. Damn it, how could they let others pass? Although the cultivation level of Immortal Prime was nothing in his eyes now, he also walked step by step from the Chi refinement realm to where he was today. He understood the difficulty of cultivation. Why? Are you unhappy? As Lin Ray's system, all his emotions and thoughts were known to the system. As long as the system wanted to know, Lin Ray couldn't do anything about it. Sigh. Looking at the stone wall, Lin Ray sighed. He didn't pay attention to those things. To be able to carve such an existence, its cultivation level must be beyond imagination. System, can you explore this place? Looking at the arched door in front of him, Lin Ray was very curious. There was such an existence under the Blood Sea. Why? What was the purpose of the Blood Sea? At this moment, Lin Ray couldn't help but let his imagination run wild. After all, these were things he couldn't help but think about. Host, I think you should explore on your own. I don't think you will find such a place. Moreover what? I feel that the energy here is very useful to me. Perhaps, after leaving this place, the system can be promoted to King Grade system. When the system said this, Lin Ray was stunned. Then, a smile flashed across his face. Coming here, other than being able to get a chance to leave, the most important thing was the system's promotion. He wanted to see what it would be like after the system was promoted to King Grade. He wanted to see if the little dragon would be awakened because of the system's promotion. Thinking about it, Lin Ray was very motivated. If that's the case, then I'll go in directly. As he spoke, without waiting for the system to speak, Lin Ray's figure was already standing in front of the arched door. He stretched out his hands, one on each side, and began to push the arched door. Hey, I say, can you not be so impatient? I haven't even seen what this thing is. I don't even know if it's dangerous or not. Are you really so impatient? Do you want to die? The system's complaints rang in Lin Ray's ears. However, to this, Lin Ray acted as if he didn't hear it. He didn't back down and continued to work hard. Damn, you rascal! Seeing that Lin Ray had no intention of stopping, the system was helpless. Okay, since you're willing, then play by yourself. After that, the system's voice disappeared. However, at this moment, Lin Ray seemed to be bewitched. He didn't hear the system's voice at all. On the contrary, he kept increasing his strength. Then, he activated his cultivation and began to use all his strength. Little doll, it's useless for you to do this. Suddenly, a voice rang out. However, the amazing thing was that Lin Ray heard it. Huh! Lin Ray, who was pushing the door with all his strength, paused and looked around. You don't have to look for me. I just want to say that your side is useless. The new Divine Demon Gate is not something that you can shake with your current cultivation. Stop, or the only result will be death. The voice rang out again. However, this time, Lin Ray heard it clearly. The voice came from the gate filled with flowers and birds. If one looked carefully, one could see that in the sea of flowers, there was a little bird lying on it. Its eyes were shining brightly. It didn't look like a stone carving, but more like a living creature. Senior, I just want to enter. If you have a way, why don't you tell me? Of course, I can do my best to help you complete any request you have. Chapter 1369. Is that so? The voice fell into deep thought. Lin Ray's heart was beating like a drum. He wasn't sure if the voice was good or bad, but he was sure of one thing. As the saying goes, one doesn't get up early if there are no benefits. If one doesn't ask for anything in return, who would bother with you? Sure enough, just as this thought appeared in his mind, the voice spoke again. What you said is also possible. Oh, as expected. Lin Ray sneered in his heart. However, his face was very alert and he nodded repeatedly. Yes, yes, yes. Senior, please tell me. As long as I can do it, I will do it. Ha ha, good. The voice laughed. Then, the laughter stopped abruptly and he said, I can help you enter this place, but you have to promise me one thing. What? As he spoke, Linley subconsciously took a step back. Although at his level, there weren't many things that could cause him to feel fear, the things in front of him were things he had never seen before. And yet, this person had been able to see through his cultivation level at a glance. How could he not be shocked? Are you afraid? No. Lin Ray understood that he had lost his composure and immediately returned to his original position. Actually, my condition is very simple. He paused for a long time before he spoke again. After you enter, if you can obtain the inheritance inside and come out alive, then let me go so that I won't be in a hurry to escape from this demon sect. If that's the case, I will be deeply grateful. This time, it was Lin Ray's turn to be stunned. What does this mean? After so long, it's just for this? Lin Ray was a little uncertain and he confirmed. Senior, you said, this is the condition. Is there nothing else? How could he not understand Lin Ray's thoughts? Don't worry, there is nothing else. After receiving confirmation, Lin Ray heaved a sigh of relief. Then, he cupped his hands and replied, Senior, please don't worry. If I enter and obtain the opportunity that you mentioned or come out alive, I will definitely help you out of your misery. Of course, all of this is under the premise that this junior has the ability to solve it. Otherwise, even if you kill this junior will not be able to do it. Lin Ray wasn't a fool. Who knew if he could obtain the inheritance inside? If he couldn't, how could he deal with the demon sect? That was why he came up with the plan. Otherwise, he might end up digging a pit for himself. It wouldn't be worth it. However, the other party clearly knew what Lin Ray was thinking, so he didn't hesitate and nodded. All right, this old man won't force you. After you enter and obtain the inheritance, you can save this old man. If you can't obtain it and you don't have the ability to do so, this old man won't force you. If that's the case, what do you think? Let's do as Senior says. Lin Ray hurriedly agreed. He didn't want this matter to have any more changes. Old Sparrow, are you sure you want to let him in? Suddenly, another voice appeared. It was different from the previous voice. This voice belonged to a woman, and it was very pleasant to listen to. Lin Ray locked his gaze on the demon sect. At this moment, he wasn't sure if there was something sealed inside. Little girl, why did you come out? The old sparrow asked. However, the girl didn't want to talk to him. It's none of your business. I only want to ask you, are you sure you want to let him in? Others might not know, but don't you know how powerful it is inside? As she spoke, a hint of disdain flashed across her voice. Even you couldn't enter the second level back then, let alone this weakling. Oh, that's not right. He's even weaker than a weakling. If you let him in like this, isn't it the same as letting him die for nothing? Little girl, can't you stop harping on that matter? I've already told you that this happened because this old man didn't pay attention back then. Tisk, who would believe that? After saying that, the girl's voice rang in Lin Ray's ears. Kid, if you don't want to die, leave quickly. This isn't a place for you to play. With your cultivation, you can't even enter the first level, let alone the level where the old sparrow died back then. Moreover, you'll lose your life for nothing. Therefore, I advise you to leave quickly, or else. Listening to the advice, Lin Ray felt helpless. Although it was advice, the more he listened, the more he felt that the other party was looking down on him. No, I'm not leaving. Lin Ray shook his head and continued. First of all, I want to say that I want to enter this place. Secondly, my name is Lin Ray, and I'm not the weakling you're talking about. Of course, in your eyes, I might be weak, but this sovereign has been cultivating for more than 4,000 years. This realm isn't something that you can casually make up. After saying that, a domineering aura rose to the sky, as if he was very awesome. However, this domineering aura was nothing in the eyes of the girl. Weakling, do you have to go in and die? Don't call me a weakling. The girl didn't think much of it and continued. Weakling, you might die in there. Are you sure? Don't call me a weakling. Weakling, you have to understand that with your current cultivation, you might not be able to come out. Have you ever thought about your family or friends? If you die, what will happen to them? I'm not a weakling. Speaking of which, my family and friends naturally include me. Father, I miss you so much. Hubby, I miss you so much. When are you coming home? Arner has grown up. Suddenly, two voices rang out. Lin Ray's body changed, his mind rolled, and he was stunned on the spot. These two voices were very familiar. Since when had these two voices appeared every night? He turned around and saw that Jean Ling and Jean En were looking at him. The love in their eyes made others envious. However, all of this seemed so unreal to Lin Ray. Aren't you dead? Yes, isn't Ling Er dead? When I was in the divine world, I was still repenting in front of Ling Er's grave. Why now, could it be, as if he thought of something, he turned around. The original demon gate disappeared, and was replaced by the scene in Qianshui village. Illusion! At this moment, Lin Ray was sure that the scene in front of him was fake. If it was for other reasons, perhaps Lin Ray could still be superior. However, for Jean En and Jean Ling, he would never mistake them. Turning around, he looked at them tenderly. A teardrop flowed from his eyes. Ling Er, I'm sorry. If I didn't think so highly of myself, you and En Er wouldn't have died. If I could be given another chance, I would never go back. Unfortunately, there's no turning back. Perhaps, when I truly reach the peak of Tao, I can reverse time and space for you. Let's go back to when we first met. If that time really comes, I will accompany you until we grow old. Our love will never change. Chapter 1370. After saying that, he raised his hand and waved. Jean Ling and Jean En's figures instantly turned into ashes and disappeared. After that, there were a few more illusions. However, after the first one, the rest were nothing to worry about. He raised his hand and suppressed them. Finally, the scene returned to its original state. When he saw the demon gate again, Lin Ray went straight to the point. Tell me, is it okay now? My time is limited. I don't want to waste my time here. Okay, you can go in. The illusion just now was just a test for Lin Ray. If he couldn't pass it, he could only indulge in the environment. As the saying goes, the land of women is the grave of heroes. However, the old sparrow wasn't worried anymore. At least, he didn't have to worry about the first level. As soon as he said that, on the other side of the divine demon gate, a bright light flashed in the sea of flowers where the sparrow was. Suddenly, a blue vortex appeared. Go in. Remember, do what you can. Got it. Without hesitation, he stepped into the vortex. Sigh, I hope you can get what that person left behind. Then I can be free. Looking at the direction where Lin Ray was, he sighed. Dreams are good, but the world is cruel. Don't have any illusions. Otherwise, you will be the one who gets hurt. Hey, what can you do if you don't insult me? I can die. The old sparrow was speechless. Behind the divine demon gate, Linley walked out of a pitch-black space, and a blue whirlpool similar to the one he had just seen appeared. Immediately, the Chaos Dragon's spear appeared in his hand. He looked around cautiously and was on high alert. "System, can you scan the map of this place?" Ding. "Yes." He was just trying it out. He didn't expect it to work. "Then hurry up. Don't waste time." He wouldn't be stupid enough to create a map of this place himself. He had the system, so he wouldn't be stupid if he didn't use it. Ding. Scanning the map of this secret realm requires 5 million midgrade netherworld jade. Does the host agree to continue? Lin Ray was speechless. Lin Ray doubted his life. 5 million midgrade netherworld jade? Why don't you go rob a bank? One had to know that 5 million midgrade netherworld jades was equivalent to a drop of blood essence. Ding. Would the host like to spend 5 million to investigate this area? The system's voice sounded again. Hearing this voice, Lin Ray felt as if his heart was bleeding. However, when he thought of his purpose in coming here, he nodded and said, "Investigate, investigate." Ding. 5 million midgrade netherworld jade has been deducted. Checking in progress. Please wait. It's over. Hearing those words, Zhang Xian quickly released his spiritual perception into his storage ring. Then, he saw that one of the 2 mountains of netherworld jade had already reached the bottom. Motherf asterisk cur, that's 5 million. It's gone just like that. As he thought about it, Lin Ray stretched out his hand to cover his heart. His expression was one of extreme heartache, and it was extremely comical. After a long time, Lin Ray finally returned to his senses and swept his gaze over the surroundings. This place was similar to the outside world. However, the difference was that the nether chi here was extremely dense. Who exactly left this place behind? How dare they treat this place as their own door? Thinking of this door, Lin Ray became even more curious about the owner of this place. He wanted to see what kind of good things the owner of this place could have left behind. Taking a step forward, Zhang Xian walked forward. Although his spiritual perception was somewhat useless in this place, he was still able to detect everything within a radius of 5 meters. The path was rather flat, and there was nothing dangerous. However, there was one thing that was similar to the outside world. There were many corpses over there, and some of them had already turned into white bones. This confirmed what the old sparrow had said earlier. Those who entered this place were all dead. None of them were able to escape. Zhang Xian could tell from the corpses that some of them had walked toward the inside, and some of them had also walked toward the outside. However, they had died on the way before they could leave. Illusory spirit blood fire. The illusory spirit blood fire wrapped around his body. Suddenly, the surroundings appeared clearly in Lin Ray's line of sight. Oh, is this the Xianyuan dark treasure? Looking at the purple leaf and black fruit that were emitting a faint light, Lin Ray couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. The Xianyuan dark treasure was the main ingredient of a 9th-grade elixir recipe. However, it was said that this main ingredient had been extinct for a long time. How could Lin Ray not be shocked when he saw it now? Zhang Xian took a step forward. For such a good thing, he naturally had to take the initiative. After all, he couldn't enter a treasure mountain and return empty-handed. That wasn't Lin Ray's usual style of doing things. When he arrived in front of the Xianyuan dark treasure, a purple jade box suddenly appeared in his hand. He squatted down and stretched out his hand. A wave of Saint's spiritual chi wrapped around his hand. Then, he plucked the black fruit and placed it into the jade box. Puff, puff, puff. A strange sound was heard. The purple leaf that had lost the black fruit instantly turned into ashes. Lin Ray was already used to such a scene. It didn't arouse Lin Ray's curiosity. He stood up and walked away. This time, Lin Ray was very serious. Previously, he had found the Xianyuan dark treasure by accident. Who knew if there were other treasures here? However, Lin Ray thought so and did so. Moreover, he received good returns. Along the way, he obtained a lot of treasures. All kinds of treasures that were already extinct in the outside world had all appeared here at this moment. However, all of them had fallen into Lin Ray's bag. Regarding this, Lin Ray could guarantee that as long as he refined these things into elixirs, the sect and even his own cultivation would reach a new height. Time slowly passed. Lin Ray didn't know how much time had passed. Finally, the system notification that he had been waiting for came. Ding. Exploration complete. Ding. This is the Letian secret realm, a place of inheritance left behind by a heavenly fusion realm cultivator. The Letian secret realm is divided into 4 layers. The first layer is the death realm. The second layer is the life realm. The third layer is the mountain of corpses and sea of blood. The fourth layer is the Azura domain. At this moment, the host was in the death realm. Here, the dead spirits wouldn't be obvious. On the contrary, they would become very powerful because of the illusion here. In the end, they would become the protectors of the first layer. What? Lin Ray was dumbfounded. If that was the case, wouldn't all the corpses he saw on the way here become the protectors of this place? If that was the case then, F***CK. What a scam. He didn't dare to think about it anymore. He locked his gaze and frowned. The primal chaos dragon spear began to accumulate energy. He felt like he was being watched all the time. Ding. Host, the inheritance in the Letian secret realm is very important. If you can obtain it, you might be able to enter a higher realm. Of course, this has to take into consideration that the host can reach the place of inheritance safely. It's not funny at all. Chapter 1371. Lin Ray was on high alert now that he understood how dangerous this place was. He had seen the cultivation of the people who had died before, and many of them were much stronger than him. If the system was right, then Lin Ray shuddered at the thought of this and woke him up. He dug the primal chaos dragon spear even tighter and circulated his cultivation. He was ready to run if he couldn't win. He knew that if he hadn't suffered so much because of his pride, he wouldn't have ended up in such a state. Of course, Lin Ray didn't plan on leaving the danger before him. How could he leave empty-handed after entering a mountain of treasures? That wasn't his style. Moreover, the heavenly treasures from before had already shown Lin Ray the value of this secret realm. Therefore, it was impossible for him to leave now. He continued to move forward. This time, Linley was even more alert than before. He slowed down his footsteps, taking one step at a time. However, this made him feel even more certain that there was something watching him from the shadows. In the Xuanzong sect in the Holy World, the atmosphere was heavy. Just a moment ago, they received news that more than a dozen sect masters and grand elders were lying in ambush. Some of the disciples who had left earlier had their soul jades shattered, which meant that they were already dead. In the Xuanzong sect's main hall, the atmosphere was heavy. No one spoke, and everyone had a grave expression on their faces. Bang! As the sect master, Lin Yun slapped the armrest of his chair. Fortunately, the sect master's chair was a magic tool. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to keep it. Boom! Bastards, do you really think that I'm useless? This time, Lin Yun was really angry. He originally wanted to wait until they arrived before taking action, but he didn't expect this group of people to be so impatient. They were going to kill him to the last man. This was below. Hong Lian's face changed when she saw Lin Yun's reaction. She took a step forward and said, "Sect Master, since the enemy is here, I would like to ask for your permission. Sect Leader, we are willing to fight. Please grant us our wish." For a time, apart from Ice and Shadow, everyone else moved. They took a step forward with fearless expressions, which touched Lin Yun's heart. Earlier, there was an instant when he wanted to stir up the emotions of these people. However, when he thought of the number of people and how powerful they were, he suppressed the emotions in his heart. Waving his hand, he said in a low voice, I know you're frustrated with your cultivation, but with the enemy before you, how many people do you think you can kill? 10? 20? Even if you can kill so many, there are already more than 10 sects outside. Have you ever thought about how many sages they have sent? Moreover, if something happens to all of you, who will guard the sect? If the sect is destroyed, Father's painstaking efforts will go to waste. Do you think Father wants to see all of you die? Lin Yun's words pierced through everyone's hearts. If something happened to them, the sect would be destroyed. What would Lin Ray think? Alright, don't just stand there. You might not be able to fight, but your mission is very important. You have to practice the disc array that I gave you. After all, it's the only way to deal with the enemy. Now that the sect is in trouble, we can only rely on you guys. Everyone was stunned when they heard those words. They lowered their heads. Although they were frustrated, they could only endure it. Lin Yun didn't know how to comfort them. You guys will go to the secret realm to cultivate in a while. You don't have to worry about the rest. Leave it to me. As for you all, you only have a month's time. According to the endurance of the sect's great formation, the sect's great formation will lose its effect in at most a month's time. At that time, if you still can't master the formation, the sect will be in danger. But Hong Lian wanted to say something when she heard Lin Yun's words. But before she could say anything, Lin Yun cut her off. What's wrong? Do you have any objections to my words? Lin Yun narrowed his eyes and looked at Hong Lian. Before my father left, he said that you have to obey my orders 100%. So, I don't want to repeat myself. Then, he waved his hand at everyone. Go and do your own things. You don't have to worry about anything else. Everyone wanted to say something, but when they thought of Lin Yun's last words, they shook their heads helplessly and left. Not long after, Lin Yun sat alone on the sect master's seat in the main hall. He was indescribably dispirited, but his gaze was sharp, like a sword that was about to be unsheathed. It's time to go out. I wonder how strong they are? 1,000 miles away from the Xuanzong sect, 6 people stood proudly on a mountain peak. The leader was a middle-aged man. He looked at the Xuanzong sect with a cold glint in his eyes. Xuanzong sect, heh? If it weren't for your sudden rise, we wouldn't have noticed. Since you're so impatient, don't blame me for being ruthless. The Huiyun sect was a second-rate sect in the Yellow region. But even so, it wasn't something the Xuanzong sect could compare to. Of course, it was built on the alliance of more than 10 sections. The leader of the group was the Huiyun sect's sect master, Yang Kuan. He was narrow-minded, but he was good at scheming. He had contributed a lot to the plan to besiege the Xuanzong sect. He was also the main force of more than 10 sections. Sect Master, if the higher-ups find out about such a large-scale mobilization, won't we? At this moment, an old man stepped forward with a worried expression. That's right, Sect Master. Isn't this a little too impatient? I feel that the Xuanzong sect isn't simple. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to conquer so many sects in such a short period of time. They also wouldn't be able to annex the remaining forces. Moreover, the Xuanzong sect is indifferent to such a large-scale operation. Could it be that there are strong cultivators sitting there? Or perhaps they have a strong background in the Yellow region. If we act rashly like this to us, after he said that, the remaining people nodded their heads. They agreed very much. They didn't approve of this mobilization in the first place. If it wasn't for the sect master's order and the temptation of the heavenly treasures, they wouldn't have all appeared here. One had to know that the people here were all the top forces of the Fire Cloud sect. If they all died here, or if they lost half of their strength, then the original second-rate sect would lose its original status and be reduced to a third-rate sect. However, Yang Kuan frowned slightly at the words of the old men behind him, but he recovered immediately. I'm certain about this matter. As for the problem you're worried about, I've already told you. The higher-ups already know. As for whether the Xuanzong sect has a strong background or not, it's not something we need to worry about. Besides, there are people in front of us charging. If we find that something is wrong, it's better to withdraw in time. Chapter 1372. If that's the case, then we have nothing to say. Since Yang Kuan had already put it this way, what else could they say? However, they had a new understanding of Yang Kuan's ruthlessness. After all, he was the one who organized this operation. Now, those people were just cannon fodder. TSK, they couldn't afford to offend someone like him. They might even be killed without knowing what happened. Alright, since that's the case, let's wait and see. After that, no one said anything else. A dozen people arrived at the Xuanzong sect's entrance. Their mouths twitched when they heard the sect's words. Damn, this sect is too domineering. The man couldn't help thinking about his own sect. Compared to this sect, it was simply on a completely different level. Sect Master, that's not the main point. The main point is that we're here to cause trouble. If the other sects hear about this, they'll laugh at us, someone reminded from behind. That's right. He returned to his senses and looked at the person who reminded him with admiration. Go and call the sect. Yes, Sect Master. Receiving the order, the man came to the sect's entrance and raised his hand to attack the door frame. Rumble. Suddenly, the palm fell and a rumbling sound echoed. Following the rumbling sound was a man's voice. Where's the Xuanzong sect? You're pretty good. My Kueishui sect is here. Come out and accept your death. When the other sects heard this, they were speechless. Was this guy an idiot? Although he was here to kill, the way he challenged him and his tone was really unbearable to the ears. Naturally, no one was too conflicted about it. In their eyes, the Kueishui sect was just cannon fodder. They were just trying to test the Xuanzong sect. Whoosh! Not long after the Kueishui sect's challenge, an indifferent voice rang out from the Xuanzong sect. Humph, how impressive. Now, any trash sect can come to my Xuanzong sect to cause trouble. I really don't know how your Kueishui sect survived until now. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Yun's silhouette walked out of the profound sect. His silhouette landed in everyone's line of sight. This brat's cultivation, half-step saint? What the F***ck, are they trying to do something? Is the Xuanzong sect overconfident or are they looking down on the Kueishui sect? When the sects saw Lin Yun's cultivation, they began to discuss among themselves. Facing the attitude of the surrounding sects, the faces of the people of Kueishui sect were gloomy like water. He admitted that although the Kueishui sect was at the bottom of the rankings, they still had 7 saints. Although there were no earth saints, they still had saints. What was the situation now? A half-saint? Looking down on their Kuei water sect? For a moment, the sect master of the Kueishui sect, Kuei Long, felt unhappy. Especially when he saw Lin Yun, killing intent surged in his heart. Go kill him for me. With that thought in mind, he waved his hand and ordered one of the sages behind him. Yes, sect master. When the old man received the order, he walked out and looked at Lin Yun with disdain in his eyes. Brat, don't blame me for courting death. Who asked you to be a member of the Xuanzong sect? As he spoke, he circulated his cultivation and slapped Lin Rei. In his opinion, one slap was more than enough to deal with Lin Yun. Bang! A loud explosion rang out and a cloud of dust flew into the air, covering Lin Yun's original location. TSK, trash, you still have the nerve to come out. Looking at the dust, Kuei Long said with disdain. His face was full of pride. Not only did he feel good, but it was also a warning to the surrounding sections. However, just as everyone was feeling proud, a sigh rang out. TSK, I really don't know if you're arrogant or what, What? This is Kuei Long and the Dao Fruit Realm Saint were shocked. They were very familiar with this voice. Wasn't this the person they had just slapped to death? However, at this moment, Lin Yun's figure appeared behind the Dao Fruit Realm Saint. "Aunt, I really don't know how trash like you can live until now. Moreover, you have the courage to come to my Xuanzong sect and cause a ruckus." The old man was shocked. He turned around and saw Mao Xing's figure. He didn't know when Mao Xing had appeared, but the old man was terrified when he saw Mao Xing's killing intent. This feeling had not appeared in a long time. He even felt that the one staring at him was not a human, but a beast about to hunt. Clang! The sound of a spear rang out. Lin Yun was staring at the old man with a bloodthirsty smile. "Next, it's my turn." This time, he wanted to intimidate everyone present. The Xuanzong sect was not a sect that anyone could bully. Martial god stratagem, stacked kill. Suddenly, the spear pierced towards the old man. The spear was so fast that it left people speechless. Of course, the old man was not to be trifled with. After all, he was a Dao Fruit Realm Saint. When he saw the spear rushing towards him, he tilted his head and dodged it. "Humph, is that all you've got?" He looked at Lin Rui with disdain. However, Lin Yun's expression puzzled the old man. At this moment, Lin Yun was not shocked or unwilling. He only sneered and looked down on him. "How, no you." Seeing the old man's shocked expression, Lin Yun sneered. "Did you feel it?" "Humph, unfortunately, it's too late." Spatial stacked kill. Suddenly, Lin Yun used the martial god stratagem to its fullest. The space around the tip of the spear began to overlap, and the old man's body began to bend uncontrollably. "What's going on? How could my—" The old man wanted to resist, but unfortunately, what awaited him was his uncontrollable cultivation. It was as if a force had been activated, refining the Dao Fruit seal. "This is the price you have to pay for offending my Xuanzong sect." After saying that, Lin Yun used all his strength. Under his control, the stratagem of martial god's lethality was unprecedented. If Ruo Lin Lei was here, he would definitely be gratified to see such an outstanding person. "Fold it for me." With a furious roar, the speed at which the space overlapped became faster and faster. In just an instant, the entire space overlapped. As for the old man, he didn't even let out a scream. With a terrified and unwilling expression, he disappeared into the long river of the world. Damn, it's true. The stratagem of martial god can't be used casually. Lin Yun smiled bitterly when he felt that 2/3 of the spiritual energy in his body had disappeared. However, when he thought that it was enough for him to show off, he returned to the sect's formation. He looked at the people outside with killing intent. "This is the result of offending my Xuanzong sect. As for your Kueishui sect, you are just a testing stone brought by them. Do you really think that you are so important and awesome? Ridiculous." Chapter 1373. Yu Kuei-long was enraged by Lin Yun's words. Although Lin Yun was right, he couldn't do anything in front of so many sections. "Charge. As long as you kill this ant, I'll give him the position of an elder, 1,000,000 mid-grade nether jades, and make him my daughter." As the saying went, a generous reward would attract brave men. Furthermore, as a member of the sect, everyone knew that Kuei-long had a beautiful daughter with a seductive figure. Furthermore, if Lin Yun could become an elder of the sect, his status in the future would be unimaginable. Adding on the fact that he was the son-in-law of the sect master, he would be able to do whatever he wanted in the Kuei water sect. For a moment, everyone from the Kuei water sect charged forward. It was as if they were injected with chicken blood as they circulated their cultivation and charged at Lin Yun. Her resolute gaze and fiery expression made Lin Yun's heart go numb. Bam bam bam! What's going on? Kuei-long was stunned, everyone else was stunned, and all the sect masters and elders were stunned. Only Lin Yun was looking at the clowns in front of him with a calm expression. Before Lin Ray left, he said that the Sect Guardian array was of a very high grade and could withstand the attack of an Earth Saint. However, in his mind, this formation was unworthy of his father, Linley. In reality, with Linley's current level, although he could also set up a formation that could block Earth Sage cultivators, this kind of formation would only be able to block a few attacks before it lost its effect. Before leaving, Linley had steeled his heart and gritted his teeth as he purchased this protective formation from the system. At that time, Linley's heart had been bleeding. For this array, he had spent nearly 100 million exchange points, which almost made him faint from the heartache. Fortunately, however, the formation had taken effect. If Linley had known that the formation would have such an effect, perhaps he would have rejoiced at the wise decision he had made. Unfortunately, Lin Ray was unaware of all of this. At this moment, Lin Ray was still wandering in the Netherworld's Dragon's Spring adversity. Seeing that everyone was blocked so quickly, Lin Yun regained his confidence. He flashed a middle finger at everyone and made a disdainful gesture. "Ants, didn't you have a lot of fun scolding me? What's wrong now? Come on, why don't you scold me again?" As he spoke, he picked up a stone from somewhere and flicked a finger at Kuei Long, similar to the spirit flicking divine ability. Swoosh! A stream of light shot out, catching Kuei Long and the others off guard. The stone accurately hit Kuei Long's head. Bang! A muffled sound rang out. Kuei Long's head had been hit by a stone, causing his head to tilt back. Sect leader. Sect master. Seeing Kuei Long like this, the surrounding people surrounded him and asked with concern. However, this made Kuei Long feel embarrassed. Scram. Scram. You've embarrassed me again and again today. Do you really think I'm easy to bully? Kuei Long endured the pain from his head and looked at Lin Ray. His eyes were burning with anger, as if he wanted to burn Lin Ray to ashes. Continue. Isn't it just an array? I don't believe that the Xuanzong sect has so many things to maintain the array. As he spoke, he took the lead and punched at Lin Yun with all his strength. Bang! Kuei Long's hand stopped in midair and a transparent barrier appeared in the air. After a series of ripples, the barrier returned to normal. Continue. Don't stop until you break it. As he spoke, he took a step back. His hand, which was originally on the array formation, was withdrawn without anyone noticing. Then, he curled it up in his sleeve. Although his expression was calm, he was feeling bitter in his heart. Earlier, he had used up all of his strength in that punch. However, in the end, he only felt pain. Endless pain. It was as if his strength had been reflected back at him. Bang! 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 Just like this, a series of muffled sounds rang out. All the Kuei Water Sect cultivators started to bombard the formation without any restrictions, as if they didn't care about their lives. Lin Yun shook his head. He didn't expect that others would treat them as fools, but they were willing to be fools. Since that was the case, he had nothing to say. As for the array, he didn't believe that these fellows, who had piled up elixirs and spiritual stones, could break the array. As he thought about it, a smile appeared on his face. He glanced into the distance before turning around and leaving. "Children, I'll be waiting for you inside. I hope you don't disappoint me. You must work hard. Don't give up." After that, he disappeared in front of everyone. But at this moment the Kuei Water Sect's cultivators, who were bombarding the array like crazy, stopped. All of them looked at each other, looking hesitant and indecisive. "Junior brother Long, why don't you take the lead first? After all, you're a junior, right?" No, senior brother Lu, as a senior, you should take the lead. You should go first. You do it. No, how can we do this? Let senior brother go first. Just like that. Everyone was shouting at each other. In the end, a simple and honest man took the lead. Looking at everyone, the man bowed to Kuei Long and said, "Master, since all the junior brothers can do this, then this disciple can't fall behind. For this matter, I think only Master can go first." Kuei Long was speechless. Looking at this eldest disciple, it was fortunate that he knew his temperament. Otherwise, he would think that he was doing it on purpose. Thinking about it, he became angrier. He looked at everyone and snorted. "Second brother, see, and sixth brother, you three go first. Remember, you have to use your strength. Otherwise, when you return to the sect, you will reflect on your mistakes for 50 years. You won't be able to take a step out of the reflection cliff for 50 years. Hearing this, the three of them were stunned. They smiled bitterly and nodded. They couldn't go against Kuei Long's orders. In the end, they could only endure Lin Yun's words and put out their fists. With a bang, a fist punched out. In the end, everyone had a demonstration, so there was nothing else to do. One by one, they charged forward and launched another round of attack. But the array in front of them seemed to have inexhaustible energy. It was the same as before. There was no change. "Master, what do you think we should do?" The eldest disciple couldn't help asking. Sigh. He sighed and rolled his eyes at his eldest disciple. Shaking his head helplessly, he said, "We can't do it. A day has already passed, but this formation doesn't show any signs of weakening. It seems that we can only find a formation expert to break it. Otherwise, not to mention us, even those people behind us who want to be the aureole behind us won't be able to enter in this lifetime." Chapter 1374. Lu Huai, go to the Array Guild and invite an Array Master over. I don't believe that an Array Master won't be able to break this formation. Kuei Long made up his mind. This time, no matter the price, he must kill that person. Otherwise, his reputation would be ruined. However, Lu Huai did not move after Kuei Long said that. Instead, he looked at the crowd with a troubled expression as if he was asking for help. Looking at Lu Huai, Kuei Long snorted, "Why? Are you not going to listen to me?" With a plop, Lu Huai knelt on the ground and kowtowed repeatedly, "Master, it's not that I don't want to go, it's..." Before Lu Huai could speak, the crowd felt awkward as if they knew what Lu Huai was going to say next. However, Kuei Long was the only one who did not know. He forced Lu Huai to speak. "Speak, what is it?" Master. Lu Huai raised his head and looked at Kuei Long. Gathering his courage, he said, "It's like this. Master, you have to pay a huge price to invite someone from the Array Guild. The price of inviting someone from the Array Guild will be even higher. Normally, they will need to pay 7 million mid-grade netherworld jades to activate a formation. It's the same for setting up or breaking a formation. Moreover, the Array Master will charge according to the strength of the formation. Do you think our sect has that much netherworld jades to invite an Array Master?" Hearing that, the crowd including Lu Huai lowered their heads. Their faces were red and they did not speak. When Kuei Long heard that, he was stunned. When he thought of the sect's situation, he sighed. He was too focused on revenge and forgot about the sect's situation. But so what? Go, invite the Array Master over. As for revenge, I will use the name of Kuei Water Sect as a guarantee. I will not let the Array Guild down. Moreover, with the strength of the Array Guild, why would they be afraid of this? Indeed, the Array Guild was not afraid. As long as you insist on inviting them, they will end up in a miserable state. At the very least, they will take away all of the other parties' belongings and everything of value. At the very least, it was not impossible for the entire sect to be wiped out. Thus, when he made this decision, he had already thought of a countermeasure. However, when Lu Huai and the others heard that, they had a different feeling. They should have known that the price would be high. "What are you waiting for?" Kuei Long roared. He couldn't wait any longer. He wanted to kill Lin Yun. He wanted to kill the person who had humiliated him. Although Lu Huai was still hesitating when he heard Kuei Long's angry rebuke, he quickly got up and rushed off into the distance. "Don't worry, master. Your disciple will definitely pass on your message." His voice grew weaker and weaker until it completely disappeared. Everyone looked at Lu Huai's departing figure and sighed, not saying anything in the end. "All right, when the people from the Formation Guild arrive, it will be time for us to take action. During this period of time, let's recuperate and wait for the arrival of the storm." After saying that, Kuei Long walked to the side and began to cultivate. "Let's go and cultivate." Just like that, the storm passed dramatically. In the first level of the Netherworld Dragon's Spring Secret Realm, in the Death Realm, Linley was currently lying on the ground, panting. His clothes were stained with blood, but because of the color of Linley's blood and his white robes, although he was in a sorry state, it made him look especially elegant and noble. He didn't know what was happening in the Xuanzong sect in the Holy World. Right now, he only wanted to calm down and have a good rest. Huff, huff, damn it, what the hell is going on? The first level is already so terrifying. The next few levels will eat me alive. Not long ago, Linley had been searching for heavenly treasures and strolling through the realm of death. For some reason, he had arrived at a cliff. Suddenly, a wave of pure nether energy gushed out from the bottom of the cliff. A golden fruit had appeared in a crack in the middle of the cliff. How could Lin Ray not take part in such a good thing? However, with this step, Lin Ray was dumbfounded. Just as Linley grabbed the golden fruit in his hands and placed it into the jade box he had prepared, suddenly, a cold, murderous aura emanated from behind him. A long sword formed from Yin Qi stabbed towards the back of Lin Ray's neck. It was so fast that Lin Ray didn't have the chance to react. Just as the long sword was about to cut off his head, Lin Ray tilted his head and the long sword passed by his scalp. In the end, he narrowly dodged the sword. After the sword passed, he thought he had a chance to catch his breath. However, just as the long sword fell, a long spear rushed out of nowhere and landed 3 inches in front of Lin Ray. Clang! The sound of the gun made Lin Ray's scalp tingle. His heart was pounding non-stop. As such, similar things happened more and more. At first, it was still okay. At first, they were all weak spirit. However, as time passed, a spirit that Lin Ray couldn't fight back appeared. With a slap, Lin Ray was sent flying. In the end, because of this slap, Lin Ray, who was flying in the air, entered the system space without thinking. Thus this scene happened. Lying on the grass and thinking about what had happened, he was terrified. If he hadn't reacted quickly, the system would have to find a new owner. "Brother Lei, how is it outside? Do you want me to go out and help?" After knowing the danger here, Lin Ray sent everyone here. Lying on the ground, he turned to look at the flaming tiger. A hint of bitterness flashed across his face. Then, he recovered his smile and said, "Don't worry. Your brother Lei is the chosen one. How could I die so easily?" As he spoke, he gave the flaming tiger a difficult task. During this period of time, guard me. I want to break through to the Earth Sage stage here. Otherwise, I'm afraid I won't be able to survive the next few levels of the trial. As soon as he said this, little Tiger, who was still laughing, instantly became serious. He understood the meaning behind the smile. "Don't worry, Brother Lei. I'll definitely guard you. No one can get close." With that, he turned and walked away. As for the danger, what a joke. In the system space, even if he was a Dao integration stage cultivator, he couldn't hurt him at all. The reason why he asked the flaming tiger to guard him was because he wanted the flaming tiger to calm down and cultivate. During this period of time, the flaming tiger had become impatient because of what had happened here. This wasn't a good sign. You guys can call the host. During this period of time, try to raise your cultivation as much as possible. As for the hidden dangers left behind, I'll solve them all after I break through. Yes, Brother Lay. Chapter 1375. In the Holy World, inside the Xuanzong sect of Chuyuan Valley, Lin Yun had been very quiet for the past 2 days. He didn't do anything and looked very relaxed. However, he wasn't that relaxed in his heart. No one knew what kind of serious problem he was about to face. Facing the pressure of more than 10 sects, he felt very uncomfortable. The Xuanzong sect had never felt so sullen, except when they were in the immortal world. However, later on, those sects that offended the Xuanzong sect either died or were annihilated. Even if they were lucky enough to survive, they eventually became the vassals of the Xuanzong sect. It could be said that the Xuanzong sect was an absolute overlord in the immortal world. Looking at this place, not to mention the overlord level, it was already very good that they weren't annexed by others. They had to be careful everywhere. Where was their former high-spirited and vigorous spirit? Where was their former recklessness? There was no way around it. It wasn't up to them to do whatever they wanted. The environment was changing. Everything was changing according to the changes in the illusion. Sigh. A sigh sounded in the main hall of the Xuanzong sect. It was filled with sorrow and complicated emotions. Thinking about the enemies outside the door, it gave him a headache. Evil Phoenix, I hope you can hurry up. Although my father left behind a formation, it won't last for long. He wasn't foolish enough to think that a single formation would be able to stop everyone. Ruolin and Yunzhen had such thoughts. It wasn't up to him to do what the other sect leaders wanted. Father, where are you? The sect is in trouble. Do you know? He looked into the distance with undisguised melancholy. How could I forget? Is Lu Huai back? Outside the Xuanzong sect, a disciple looked at the sect leader and asked in a deep voice. Sect leader, senior brother Lu hasn't returned yet. The disciple came to Kuei Long and bowed. He spoke with a trembling voice, as if he was very afraid of Kuei Long. What? Looking at that disciple, Kuei Long raised his voice by a few decibels. He stared at that disciple with a murderous look, causing the disciple's heart to tremble. With a plop sound, that disciple's legs went soft. He knelt on the ground and repeatedly kowtowed. Sect Master, Senior Martial Brother Lu might have been delayed by something on the way. Why don't we wait a little longer? Just as the disciple was about to ask Kuei Long to wait, Kuei Long's expression changed abruptly. His killing intent surged. The disciple trembled and quickly changed his words. Sect Master, disciple will go and look for Senior Brother Lu. I will definitely bring him back. Then, without waiting for Kuei Long to respond, I stood up and flew into the distance. There really isn't a single person who can make me worry. Kuei Long gave a cold snort and closed his eyes again. As for Lu Huai, he also wanted to know why he hadn't returned from the Spell Formation Guild. According to his calculations, 5 days should be more than enough for him to travel from here to the Formation Guild. But now, forget it, I'll give him a few more days to live. Kuei Long closed his eyes again. Dragon Origin City, in a secret room under the Formation Guild. If Kuei Long were here and saw the person who had been locked up all this time, he would probably be dumbfounded. At this moment, the person locked up in the secret room was none other than Lu Huai, who had come to ask for help. However, at this moment, Lu Huai's condition was not particularly good. He was curled up in a corner with tears in his eyes. He looked extremely wronged. Especially with the bruises all over his face, it was a horrible sight to behold. Who did I offend? It was my master who asked me to come here. Why did you lock me up? Just 3 days ago, Lu Huai came to the Formation Guild and asked for a formation master to decipher the formation. Furthermore, he offered a decent price. At that time, there were formation masters who agreed to it. After all, it would be a bastard who didn't want to earn money. Furthermore, compared to alchemists, formation masters didn't need that much money. However, it was still quite expensive. Zhu Tai was an emperor-level formation master in the Formation Guild. He had a high status in the Formation Guild. Originally, it was impossible for him to go, but he really wanted to see the formation that Lu Huai encountered. However, when he asked Lu Huai what the sect was, Lu Huai told him truthfully that it was the Kuei-Shui sect. However, when he heard this sect, Zhu Tai's expression changed abruptly. Perhaps Lu Huai didn't notice it, but the others did. At that time, Lu Huai was filled with joy. He felt that he had definitely done a great service this time. However, who would have thought that just as he was thinking about it, Zhu Tai's cold and emotionless voice entered Lu Huai's ears. Go lock him up for me. Find someone to beat him up every day. Also, within 3 days, I want to know everything about the Kuei-Shui sect. Remember, everything. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone present wanted to curry favor with this emperor-level formation master. Just like that, Lu Huai was locked up, and he lived a great life every day. Every day there would be people who would come to show him a show of love. As for the information about the Kuei-Shui sect, under the temptation of Zhu Tai, he was thoroughly investigated. Even Kuei Long found out about it a few times at night. Thinking about the unfair treatment he had received during this period of time, Lu Huai really wanted to figure out what was going on. How did he get caught for no reason, and why he was inexplicably touched by someone's fists of love every day? Unfortunately, it was impossible for him to know all of this. The only one who knew was Zhu Tai himself. In a room on the 6th floor of the Formation Guild, Zhu Tai's face was gloomy as he looked at the memorial tablet in front of him. On it was written his beloved wife, Yun Meng. Meng, do you see this? The person who could do nothing to me back then, I have found him. As he spoke, tears flowed out of his eyes uncontrollably. His eyes were filled with killing intent. It was so dense that it made people tremble in fear. Kuei Long, I didn't look for you, but you came to me. This time, I will let you know what it's like to reap your soul in hell. As he spoke, he got up and walked up the stairs. He came to a room and gently knocked on the door. Dong dong dong. At this moment, in the room, a white-haired old man was sitting in front of a table. When he heard the knocking, he put down the brush in his hand and replied with a smile, "Come in." With a sound, the door opened. Zhu Tai's figure appeared in the old man's sight. If the people in Dragon Origin City saw the old man, they would definitely be shocked. It was not because of other reasons, but because this old man was the only first-grade Saint-grade formation master in the entire Formation Guild. Moreover, he had lived for a very long time. Everyone only knew that when the Dragon Origin Formation Guild was established, Mu Tian and Elder Mu had already existed. Looking at Elder Mu, Zhu Tai let out a long breath. He walked up to him and said, "Master, I would like to leave for a while." You still haven't let go of the hatred from back then? Master, I. Zhu Tai opened his mouth but hesitated. He wanted to vent his anger, but before he killed his enemy, he could not vent the depression in his heart. Why bother? No, looking at Elder Mu, Zhu Tai was filled with hatred. What Kuei Long did to Menger back then, I will never be able to let go of it in this lifetime. Master, don't you know what happened back then? Sigh, but it's better to squash enmity than keep it alive. If you continue like this, you will fall into your inner demons. Is it really worth it? Are you sure you want to walk down the path of revenge for someone who is no longer around? He could not bear to see his beloved disciple deviate from the right path. He had always understood Zhu Tai's thoughts, but he had always wanted to change. He did not expect that in the end, his efforts would be wasted because of Kuei Long. Of course, revenge was not wrong, but he did not want his disciple to become a murderer. In his world, there was no unresolvable hatred, only obsession that could not be let go. He knew very well that even if Zhu Tai really killed Kuei Long, the guilt in his heart would not lessen at all. This was because this obsession had already become his inner demon. Even if he really wanted to take revenge, Kuei Long was already gone. Master. Looking at Elder Mu, Zhu Tai lowered his head. Not only did the killing intent in his eyes not lessen, it became even more intense. If I don't take revenge, I'm afraid that my cultivation will never reach its peak, but, sigh. Letting out a long sigh, he shook his head and waved his hand. Go, I know what you're worried about. Now, Kuei Water Sect is with Xuanzong Sect. If you want to take revenge, I'm afraid that you will offend the other sections. You're afraid that they'll do something to the Array Formation Guild and this old man, right? Hearing this, Zhu Tai lowered his head. He did not say anything, but he gave his answer. Ha! You brat! Looking at his disciple, Elder Mu could not help but laugh. Back then, Zhu Tai still had a trace of kindness in his heart. That was why he became his disciple. Even now, don't worry. Giving Zhu Tai a reassuring smile, he continued, Have you forgotten that I am invincible in a third-grade city? Say that here, pointing to the surroundings, he continued, I am the leader of the Array Guild. Do you think that they will be willing to offend the Array Guild and do something to me? Yes, but that won't do. Do you think that they can withstand the Array Guild's revenge? I should have known. I am a first-grade Saint-grade Array Master. Even if they want to take action, they will have to see if they have the guts to do so and how angry the Array Guild is. Hearing this, Zhu Tai, who was still worried, calmed down. Indeed, no matter the situation, he would not dare to let those people take action. And, since that was the case, his original worry was gone. Next, it was time for him to take revenge. Bowing, he said, Master, in the first half of my life, I lived for my parents and relatives. In the second half, I lived for you. Without you, there would be no Zhu Tai, so I will overcome the obsession in my heart and come back to be filial to you. Don't worry, I promise that I will not die outside. Saying this, he knelt on the ground and kowtowed 3 times. Elder Mu nodded in relief. Oh right. Suddenly, he thought of something and quickly said, That person from Kuei Shui Sect asked you to break the array. Did he say what kind of array it was? I think he did. Saying this, Zhu Tai sank into his memories and recalled what Lu Huai said a few days ago. That's right. That person seemed to have said that the other party's array was something that even the combined attacks of several Dao Fruit Saints could not break. As for the details, what? Elder Mu exclaimed. He stood up and stared at his disciple with his eyes wide open. Are you sure that's what he said? Seeing his master's huge reaction, Zhu Tai did not hide anything and nodded. Yes, that's what he said. But it's nothing. Master, you can do it, right? Hearing this, the corner of Elder Mu's mouth twitched violently. He was stunned on the spot. Indeed, he could do it. However, it depended on the extent. He could indeed make a Dao Fruit Saints attack the array and not break it, but that was only temporary. At most, it could last for the time it takes for an incense stick to burn. After that, the array would not be able to hold on any longer and shatter. If it was really like what the other party said, then this array was very likely to be of a higher level. Moreover, the array master who set up this array was very likely to be from that sect. Thinking of this, Elder Mu could not help it. For so many years, his array formation realm had been stagnant. No matter how much he comprehended the Tao, it remained stagnant. If he could observe a higher level array formation, it would undoubtedly be the best choice to improve his realm. It was just that he had not been able to find that miracle. If this time, Master, are you all right? In his life, this was the first time he saw such a strange side to his master. He really wanted to know what kind of thing could make his master lose his composure. However, at this moment, How could Elder Mu care about anything else? He only wanted to go to the Xuanzong sect and see the existence of that array formation. Thinking of this, he raised his head. Little Tai, you see, it's dangerous for you to go alone. Looking at his master's hungry expression, Zhu Tai could not help but shudder. At this moment, he felt like he was the meat in his master's eyes, and his master was like a wolf waiting for an opportunity to pounce. Master. Let's go, I'll go with you. When the time comes, reporting, President, there is a disciple of the Kuei sect outside the door requesting an audience. The sudden voice interrupted Elder Mu's words. However, the strange thing was that this time, Elder Mu was not angry. Instead, he was full of smiles, which was very abnormal. I originally wanted to ask that person to lead the way. Now, the person leading the way is here. As for him, thinking of the person he caught 2 days ago, killing intent flashed across his eyes. A smile appeared on his face, and he continued, Go, the person in the secret room is useless now. Kill him. When the person at the door heard this, he bowed and nodded. Yes, President, this subordinate will go now. After that, the person outside the door retreated. Master, what are you? He did not understand what was going on with his master. Let's go, I'll accompany you to take a look. While protecting you, I'll also see what level the array formation of the Xuanzong sect is. Maybe it can give me some hints to break through. Finally, Zhu Tai understood the reason for this matter. After all this time, it was because of this matter. However, this was also good. Nodding, a smile flashed. Since that's the case, let's go. Don't let the Kuei sect wait too long. Chapter 1376. At the entrance of the Array Guild, the disciple from Kuei sect waited anxiously. Soon, Elder Mu and Zhu Tai appeared in front of him. Looking at their attire, although he didn't know their identities, they must be extraordinary to be able to be surrounded by so many people. He stepped forward and arrived in front of Elder Mu and the rest. His face was covered in tears and snot. Senior, I am a disciple from Kuei sect. I am here to look for an array master. Oh right. Although he was here to look for an array master, he didn't forget about Lu Huai. What few days. A disciple from my Kuei sect came to invite someone, but I haven't seen him for so many days. I wonder, have you seen my senior? After he said this, Zhu Tai and Old Mu smiled and shook their heads. No, the Kuei Water sect can't invite anyone. As for the matter of the Kuei Water sect, the two of us have time. Of course, the reward won't be low. The disciple's face lit up. Lu Huai's matter was instantly thrown to the back of his mind. He quickly nodded and replied, Of course, of course. As long as the two of you come, our sect master will definitely reward you. As he spoke, he looked at the two of them sincerely, hoping that they would agree. Of course, at the same time, he also thought that they would reject him. All right, we agree. What? What? Exclamations came from behind Elder Mu and Zhu Tai. Everyone looked at the two of them in shock. Their mouths were wide open, as if they could swallow a fist. It was very exaggerated. Mu, enough. Someone wanted to speak, but before he could say anything, Elder Mu waved his hand and interrupted him. I know what you want to say. This time I have agreed. Why, could it be? He turned to look at the crowd. Could it be that you want me to go back on my words? I will wait. The crowd didn't dare to continue. They knew that if they continued, Elder Mu would flip out. Others might not know, but they knew very well that Elder Mu's anger was the most terrifying thing in the entire Array Guild. They still remembered that there was a young man who was crippled by Elder Mu because he said something wrong. Ever since that incident, no one in the entire Array Formation Guild dared to say anything that went against their conscience or went against his wishes in front of this person. And now, seeing Elder Mu in such a state, how could they possibly dare to continue speaking? In the end, they could only choose to remain silent. Very good. Regaining his senses, he looked at the Kuei-shui sect disciple and waved his hand. Let's go. Lead the way, we'll depart immediately. The moment these words came out, the Kuei water sect disciple was extremely excited. His face was filled with excitement as he bowed and expressed his gratitude. He was very sincere. Just like this, the Kuei-shui sect disciple brought Elder Mu and Zhu Tai away from the Array Formation Guild. However, right after the three of them left, the disciple who had been ordered to enter the secret underground chamber of the Array Guild walked in. Looking at Lu Huai, who was curled up in a corner, he sneered and said, "From today onwards, you are free." Lu Huai sneered as he looked at the guild disciple. How could he not understand the meaning behind those words? "You're here to kill me." "Yo, you're not stupid after all." The guild disciple did not deny it. As a result, he looked at him with interest. "How do you think I should kill you?" "Oh right." As if he suddenly thought of something, his smile was very creepy. "I think there's an array that I found quite interesting. Now, I'll use you as an experiment." What do you want to do?" Although Lu Huai did not have much hope, at the very least, he wanted a quick death. But now, listening to the other party's words, it seems that's not the case. The guild disciple laughed. The guild disciple laughed in a very creepy manner. He raised his hand, and a cold aura emerged from his hand. "Have you heard of 100 Ghost Parade?" Lu Huai's eyes narrowed. As if he thought of something, his eyes were filled with fear. It seems like you seem to know something." Looking at Lu Huai, the man's interest grew. These words undoubtedly proved that what he was thinking was true. His eyes widened and a ruthless look flashed. This time, he no longer looked like he was waiting for death. Instead, he looked like he wanted to rush up and kill him quickly. Coming in front of Lu Huai, he squatted down and patted his face. "You want to kill me, don't you? Bastard, why haven't you demons gone extinct? It shouldn't be. This is impossible. Weren't you all exterminated by the Heavenly Emperor? Why are you still here?" No. Closing his eyes, he carefully sensed the other party's aura. Although it was cold on the surface, it was still the existence of nether chi. What's wrong with you? Why can demons cultivate nether chi now? No. Suddenly, the information in his mind came back again. The original nether chi disappeared, and what appeared next was demonic chi. Moreover, it was very pure and dense. Judging from the aura, this was indeed a demon. At this moment, he recalled a book he read in the Kuei-shui sect's scripture pavilion. The book said that there were demons in the world. Demons were not evil, but the chi they cultivated was corrosive, death, and extermination. Hence, they were regarded as demons. However, the next sentence was unforgettable. Demons and gods could coexist. Demons and immortals could cultivate together. It could open up a new path of cultivation and could directly pursue the great Tao. You're a demon and immortal cultivator? With a questioning tone, he knew that he would die today. However, he still wanted to know if the person in front of him was a demon and immortal cultivator. If that was the case, then the end of the underworld would come. The entire underworld would not be at peace. He stared at the other party, not daring to let go for a moment. He was afraid that if he did, the other party would disappear and he would completely sink into oblivion. Looking at Lu Huai, the man nodded. Indeed, Lu Huai could be considered smart. "You're not bad. If Elder Mu didn't want you to die, I would really want you to stay. However, what a pity." As he spoke, he channeled his demonic chi into his palm and pressed it on Lu Huai's head. "You're right. I'm a demon and immortal cultivator. Moreover, I'll tell you frankly, I'm a demon. As for the Heavenly Emperor you mentioned, you might not believe me, but he's the one who let us go and taught us how to cultivate nether chi. This is the compensation he gave us. Compensation for killing us for the sake of the heart demon, so you can die now. Oh, I see. As he spoke, Lu Wei closed his eyes and stopped talking. He didn't expect this to happen. Chapter 1377. On the other side, Elder Mu and Zhu Tai followed the Kuei-Shui sect disciple without stopping. On the morning of the third day, the three of them arrived at the entrance of the Xuanzong sect. That is, damn, am I seeing things? Elder Mu? Why is he here? And why is he following the Kuei-Shui sect disciple? Don't tell me he came with the Kuei-Shui sect. In an instant, the sect leaders and grand elders were dumbfounded when they saw Elder Mu following the Kuei-Shui sect disciple into the territory of the Kuei-Shui sect. Some of the sect leaders even thought that they were seeing things. They quickly rubbed their eyes until their eyes hurt before they accepted the reality. That's right, they saw it clearly. Elder Mu really came, and he went to the Kuei-Shui sect. What's going on? Did the Kuei-Shui sect have dealings with the Array Guild? Yang Kuan looked at Old Mu with a gloomy face. He didn't feel good at all. He knew Old Mu's level. If this fellow were to strike, the mysterious sect would definitely be annihilated. Especially with his array formation skills, they were even more godly. Sect leader, this Elder Mu, how would I know? Shouldn't you explain this to me? Looking at the old man, Yang Kuan was in a bad mood. Sect Master, I didn't receive any news about this. Perhaps Elder Mu was invited over by the Kuei-Shui sect? Of course, when he said this, he really wanted to slap himself a few times. How could the leader of the Array Guild make a move for Mingyu? What a joke! If that was the case, they would have invited this godlike existence long ago. Just like that, everyone watched as Elder Mu walked into the territory of the Kuei-Shui sect. Although they wanted to go up and greet him, when they thought of Elder Mu's temper, they suppressed their palpitating hearts. At the territory of the Kuei-Shui sect, seeing Elder Mu's arrival, Kuei Long was stunned. When he saw the disciple beside him, he understood. He walked up to Elder Mu and Elder Xian, bowed and said, "Honorable Array Master, the sect protection array of this sect is very powerful. We sages are unable to break it, so we'll have to trouble you from now on." Elder Mu, Zhu Tai, and even the sect leaders and grand elders in the distance were stunned. However, after thinking about it, they understood what was going on. Kuei Long had risen late and had always done some shady things. Furthermore, Kuei Water sect itself was not an important sect. Hence, he had never seen Elder Mu's lineup before. However, he had heard of their reputation. However, after hearing Kuei Long's words, Elder Mu was relieved. Since Kuei Long did not know, he would let him continue to misunderstand. After all, Kuei Long would not live for long. Zhang Xian pondered for a moment before nodding. You must be the head of the Kuei-Shui sect, Kuei Long. On the side, Zhu Tai, who had been listening to Old Mu, locked his eyes on Kuei Long. He wanted to know the answer. However, regarding the killing intent in Zhu Tai's heart, Kuei Long was completely oblivious. Nodding his head, he said with a smile, "That's right, this seat is Kuei Water sect master, Kuei Long. Humph, he dares to call himself Venerable One in front of this person. Old lady, there's no need for the Xuanzong sect to do anything. This guy won't live for long. This guy really has dog eyes. He doesn't even recognize Elder Mu. If that's the case, then could it be that he really used the Nether Jade to invite Elder Mu?" Looking at Elder Mu's cold attitude, Yang Kuan could not help but re-evaluate their relationship. However, in his opinion, there was no need for the Array Guild to do so. Inexplicably, he could not make sense of it. Thus, he did not take the opportunity to look at it seriously. "My master is here to look at the array. As for you, this is..." Elder Mu did not say anything. He knew that the next stage would be the array protecting the sect. As for Kuei Long and the others, they would naturally be left to his precious disciple. Remember, understand everything. When I go back, cultivate well. Do you understand? Yes, I understand, master, Zhang Xian replied and stepped in front of Kuei Long. His killing intent surged, and he did not hide it at all. Kuei Long, do you still remember a girl called Yun Meng? Oh, perhaps you will understand if I explain it this way. Once, the Yun family took in a bastard who was worse than an animal. After that bastard had an idea, he wanted to molest the Yun family's daughter. In the end, because the Yun family found out, he became a ghost under your blade. As for Yun Meng, she was mercilessly killed by you. You? His body trembled and his face turned pale. He took a step back and looked at Zhu Tai in front of him in a daze. Finally, he remembered who the person in front of him was. You are Zhu Nairong? No, that's impossible. He shook his head and denied it. You can't be Yun Meng's fiancé. I know that Zhu Nairong died back then. You can't be her. As he spoke, his aura returned. He took a step forward and his face turned ferocious. Say it. Who are you and why would you say that? Did Zhu Nairong tell you that I was the one who did it to the Yun family? As soon as he said that, everyone was puzzled. In the distance, Elder Mu sneered and ignored him. He did not need to think to know what Kuei Long wanted to say next. It was nothing more than the Zhu family's doing back then. Uncle Yun protected me and sent me out. I did not expect the Yun family to be massacred by the Zhu family. Sure enough, Kuei Long really said that. Elder Mu did not want to say any more. This guy inverted right and wrong. He was a shameless villain. Well, people like him would only add to the burden of time if they lived. He raised his head and touched the invisible wall in front of him. A smile appeared in his eyes. As expected, this formation is much stronger than me. As the old saying goes, once an expert makes a move, one will know whether he is skilled or not. With just a touch, he knew how powerful the formation was. He sat down cross-legged with excitement and placed his hands on the formation's wall. He closed his eyes and began to comprehend the formation. On the other side, Zhu Tai could not bear it anymore. His eyes were originally clear, but after hearing Kuei Long's words, his eyes turned bloodshot. He looked like a beast, intimidating others. Kuei Long, you shameless villain. You actually dare to slander my Zhu clan and treat the Yun clan in such a manner. Do you know that all these years, I've been working hard in my cultivation all for the sake of today? All for the sake of avenging the 3,561 people of the Yun clan. It's all because of you that my wife died an unnatural death. It's all because of you. If it wasn't for you, how could I possibly end up like this? After saying that, his figure flashed and appeared in front of Kuei Long. He stared at him coldly and gritted his teeth. You deserve to die. I will cut you into 8 pieces. I will pull out your tendons and skin you alive. I will let your filthy soul enter the 9 underworlds and be burned by the 9 underworlds' fire for eternity. I will let everyone in the sect live a life worse than death. This is the price you said you would pay. Chapter 1378. How dare you? Everyone was stunned when they saw Zhu Tai. One of them stepped forward fearlessly and arrived in front of Zhu Tai. He looked at him and said fiercely, Do you think there's no one in my Kuei sect? After he finished speaking, a 3-chi long sword appeared in his hand. A sword chi rushed towards Zhu Tai's face. It was so fast that it almost flashed past. Sword cultivator? I didn't expect a sword cultivator to be hidden in a small Kuei sect. Really, looking at the middle-aged man, Zhu Tai was slightly shocked. Sword cultivators were very popular in this world. A sword cultivator could be said to have a bright future for the sect. After all, sword cultivators were very rare. Of course, there were many who used swords. However, those who could truly be called sword cultivators were those who entered the Tao with the sword. They were different from ordinary cultivators who only had the Tao of the sword. The Tao of the sword was to press forward and be invincible. Sword cultivators could only advance and not retreat. Otherwise, they would be defeated. Humph, since you know that I'm a sword cultivator, quickly retreat. Don't fall out with me. As for Zhu Tai, he did not want to make a move. After all, the other party was from the Array Guild. Although he knew that he was a sword cultivator, in comparison, it was not as important as the Array Master profession. Moreover, the other party's power was much stronger than the Kuei-Shui sect. He wouldn't dare to attack him unless it was a critical moment. After all, he hadn't reached the point where he would live and die with the sect. However, Zhu Tai acted as if he didn't hear the man's reprimand. He didn't care about the sword chi in front of him. He stepped forward and approached the man step by step. The man smiled bitterly when he saw Zhu Tai's reaction. The sword chi in front of Zhu Tai slowly retreated as Zhu Tai took a step forward. This scene fell into the hearts of the surrounding people. They shook their heads slightly. This scene made them understand that this sword cultivator's state of mind was broken. As for the path of a sword cultivator, it was completely broken when he retreated. Just now, it was enough to show that he wasn't pure. He didn't have the state of mind and Tao that a sword cultivator should have. I wouldn't want this kind of sword cultivator even if he's given to me. It's just a waste of resources. Such an existence still has the nerve to call himself a sword cultivator. Truly shameless. If it were me, I would have slit my own throat and committed suicide the moment my sword heart shattered. What a pity! A proper sword cultivator has actually walked to such an extent. It's truly a waste of his natural talent. For a moment, all the surrounding sects began to sigh one after another. Of course, there were sighs and naturally there were those who were watching the show, especially those who didn't want to see the rise of the Kuei water sect. This scene undoubtedly gave them a reassuring pill. You have two choices. Zhu Tai ignored the discussions around him. He looked at the man and said, "First, leave now and I'll pretend this never happened. Nothing will happen between us." Then, what about the second one? The man asked subconsciously. Second, of course it's you. But it's not certain who will die in the end. Are you sure you want to take such a huge risk for the Kuei-Shui sect? Moreover, I have the Array Formation Guild behind me. Are you sure you want to try? As soon as these words were spoken, any normal person would be able to think clearly about what decision to make. Especially for someone who didn't have a sense of dependence on the sect and was even dispensable. When Zhu Tai finished speaking about the two choices, the man didn't even think. He looked at Kuei Long and took a step back. He cupped his hands and said, "The mountains will not change and the rivers will flow forever. We will meet again someday." Whoosh! The man turned around and his figure turned into a long sword. He soared into the sky and disappeared into the horizon. Despicable person, you actually dropped the ball at this time. Seeing the man leave, Kuei Long was furious. This wasn't what he wanted. He originally thought that the man could resist for a while. But now, it seemed like he thought too much. However, the sages who originally wanted to live and die with the sect hesitated when they saw the sword cultivator Zhou Xiong leave. Although the sect might have nurtured them, but, to be fair, this sect was no longer the same sect as before. Especially after Kuei Long ascended to the position, the entire sect was in a foul atmosphere. It was no longer the place they yearned for. Although the Kuei water sect wasn't famous back then, at least it gave them a sense of belonging. But now, was it worth it? They weren't sure. They didn't know if they would be able to protect the sect in the future. Of course, more importantly, they were up against the Array Formation Guild. All of you go. Whoever can kill him, I'll give him the position of deputy sect leader. Originally, this place should have been filled with excitement and impulsiveness. But now, the sages and even the disciples were still standing there quietly and indifferently. Perhaps, if they were facing the Xuanzong sect, the conditions just now might have made them risk their lives. But facing Zhu Tai, they didn't have any thoughts of fighting for fame and fortune. It was easy to choose between life and fame and fortune. After all, without life, those were just worldly possessions. Why aren't you moving? Looking at the people who still didn't move, Kuei Long's expression turned ugly. In the past, his orders were equivalent to an imperial edict. But now, first brother, second brother, you two go. He looked at his first and second disciples. He was very confident in them. After all, he taught them personally. However, he didn't expect that the two of them also didn't move. They were still standing there and looking at him coldly. Indeed, he taught them personally. But what they learned wasn't just his cultivation method and array formation. They learned to prioritize benefit. As the saying goes, every man for himself and the devil takes the hindmost. This was what they were best at. You, Master, you seem to have forgotten that Kuei Water Sect doesn't mean much to us now. That's right, Master. He looked at Kuei Long with a cold smile and continued, with our aptitude, we can have a place in any sect. Moreover, what you taught us, aren't we using it very well now? As soon as he said that, the surrounding people looked at Kuei Long with ridicule. This was what they wanted to see. But they didn't expect it to happen so quickly. Throughout the whole process, Zhu Tai didn't say much. This was enough to show how powerful the Array Formation Guild was. How does it feel to be betrayed by your friends? Zhu Tai looked at the indifferent crowd. He didn't want to comment on their attitude. Now, he only wanted to kill Kuei Long. As for these people, they thought that leaving Kuei Water Sect would change anything. But they underestimated Zhu Tai's vengeful mentality. There was no such thing as forgiveness. There was only killing. He didn't want to leave any trouble for himself. Whoosh. After saying that, Zhu Tai made his move. Suddenly, a scorching aura soared into the sky. On the surface of Zhu Tai's body, a scorching flame soared into the sky. He raised his hand and threw a fireball at Kuei Long. Aren't you an array formation master? Kuei Long was dumbfounded when he saw the fireball rushing towards him. He could still distinguish the fireball of a cultivator. This fireball wasn't condensed from nether chi. It was a complete body. Shouldn't this be something that only alchemists or blacksmiths could have? Why would an array formation master have it? Kuei Long couldn't understand. But this didn't give him time to think. The fireball instantly appeared and smashed towards his face. Its speed was shocking. Bastard, how can this guy be so strong? Without thinking, he raised his hand and a black shield appeared in front of him. With a muffled sound, Kuei Long's expression changed when he collided with the fireball. The scorching aura became even more intense. At the same time, a powerful force surged out from the fireball and entered the shield. Then, it spread throughout his body. Suddenly, Kuei Long couldn't control his body. He flew backwards with the shield. Dong! 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 The sound of the shield hitting the ground echoed. Kuei Long, who was flying backwards, rolled on the ground for a long time before he stopped. A mouthful of scarlet blood spurted out from his mouth. His face paled. In just one exchange, Kuei Long was at a disadvantage. From the looks of it, he was even injured. His gasps could be heard all around. Everyone was shocked when they saw this scene. Although Kuei Long was despicable and shameless, his cultivation base was still decent. He was a Dao fruit sage. But now, Kuei Long, who was a Dao fruit sage, had been blown away in one move. How could these sect masters accept this? What kind of power was this? Earth Sage? Their gazes locked onto Zhu Tai, sizing him up. Some of them even released their divine sense to clearly see his cultivation base. Unfortunately, the result was that they didn't know anything. All they could see from Zhu Tai's body was a fog. What's going on? Why can't I sense Zhu Tai's aura? Right at this moment, just as he was feeling confused, an old voice exploded in his ears. Put away those thoughts of yours. If you try to investigate this old man's disciples' cultivation or anything else, this old man will destroy your sect and slaughter your entire family. Everyone understood. They didn't have any temper at all. They knew this old man's temper. Perhaps if it was someone else, they might retort, but this old man was a man of his word. More importantly, his cultivation base wasn't something they could withstand. They bowed in Elder Mu's direction, indicating that they knew. In response, the original pressure and chill disappeared. Everyone's tense bodies relaxed. Zhu Tai didn't know about this. At this moment, he only had eyes for Kuei Long. Looking at Kuei Long vomiting blood in the distance, Zhu Tai flashed and appeared in front of Luo Kong once again. Before Kuei Long could react, Zhu Tai reached out and tapped his body a few times. Kuei Long, who was already injured, was now lying on the ground as if he had lost all his strength. You? What did you do to me? Feeling his body, Kuei Long panicked. He tried to communicate with his power, but at this moment, he realized that although his cultivation base was still there, his power seemed to be sealed by something. He couldn't control it at all. It was like a pool of stagnant water, making him despair. And he knew that all of this had something to do with Zhu Tai poking him a few times just now. I'm scared. Unfortunately, no one can save you now, so accept your fate. As he spoke, he squatted down and placed his hands on Kuei Long's chest where his ribs were. His palms turned into claws. The sound of flesh being pierced was heard. Zhu Tai's hands had already entered Kuei Long's body. Crack! The sound of bones breaking was heard. When Zhu Tai pulled his hands out, there were 2 bones in his hands. There was a trace of blood on the white bones, which was very eye-catching. Suddenly, the sound of a pig being slaughtered was heard. Kuei Long was lying on the ground, screaming at the top of his lungs. His body kept twitching. Although he had the cultivation of a sage, was it useful? How could he not be in pain when his bones were broken while he was awake? You're in pain now? Looking at Kuei Long screaming, Zhu Tai sneered and threw away the bones in his hands. Then, he placed his hands on Kuei Long's body again and activated his cultivation base. The nether chi entered Kuei Long's body and wrapped around his meridians. What are you doing? Don't. Kuei Long endured the pain and felt the nether chi wrapping around his meridians. He subconsciously thought of Zhu Taishuan's words and couldn't help but speak. He was scared. He didn't expect Zhu Tai to do what he said. He really wanted to pull out his tendons and skin him alive. Is that possible? With a tearing sound, he forcefully raised both of his hands. The nether chi wrapped around the meridians and turned into chain-like existences. In an instant, all of the meridians were pulled out by their roots from their original locations. Bastard, you demon, you'll die a horrible death, a horrible death. Kuei Long, who wanted to use his voice to relieve the pain, realized that this method was useless. The pain was still there, and it was getting more and more painful. He didn't even have the chance to faint. The real pain is yet to come. Zhu Tai withdrew his nether chi. He couldn't let Kuei Long go so easily. He flipped his hand and a dagger appeared. What are you doing? Under Kuei Long's gaze, Zhu Tai held the dagger and came to Kuei Long's chest. He placed the dagger on Kuei Long's chest and used a little force. It seemed like he had practiced this before. He skillfully pulled out the dagger. His other hand came to the wound and grabbed a corner. A layer of skin was slowly peeled off by Zhu Tai. The screams were endless and never stopped. This scene made the surrounding sect leaders feel a chill down their spines. They realized that they couldn't offend this person. They would rather offend an expert than offend Zhu Tai. Otherwise, it would be normal for their tendons to be pulled out and their skin to be peeled off. Roar. Roar in pain. This is the interest you paid for betraying the Yun family. I've said it before, I'll imprison your soul in the 9 underworld hellfire, and let you be burned by the hellfire for all eternity. I'll let you know how foolish your decision was. Oh right. I heard you say that you have a daughter, right? Zhu Tai grinned. He looked very elegant. However, in Kuei Long's eyes, this was the face of a demon. It was chilling. Don't worry. I will take good care of her. Moreover, you will meet her soon. Chapter 1379. You can't do this, haha. Do you think you're still qualified to negotiate with me? As he spoke, he stabbed out with both hands. Little by little, Kuei Long's skin was cut into Zhu Tai's body. The entire process was filled with endless screams. Everyone trembled when they heard the miserable screams. They subconsciously took a few steps back, as if they were afraid of being affected by Zhu Tai's screams. Within the profound sect, Lin Yun was well aware of the situation outside the sect. Facing such a situation, he only wanted to clap his hands and cheer. As the saying went, when dogs bite each other, the Xuanzong sect would survive as long as there was internal strife. As long as they continued like this, it would give Xie Feng more time. Sect Master, there is someone outside who is using the array to comprehend the Tao of arrays. Should we? Red Lotus spoke up. They had clearly seen Elder Mu's presence. After following Linli for so long, they naturally knew why Elder Mu was here. That's right, Sect Master. If that old fellow comprehends the array, then, the Xuanzong sect will be in danger. Sect Master, give the order. If possible, we'll swarm over and kill him outside the sect. Sect Master, for a moment, the people below expressed their opinions. They were all like angry youths, hot-blooded and ready to shed blood for the sect at any time. Enough. Lin Yun waved his hand to stop everyone. He continued, let's not talk about this for now. As for the person outside, don't touch him. As for comprehending the array left behind by my father, who do you think is further on the path of arrays, my father's path of arrays or that old man's path of arrays? Everyone fell silent. Indeed, they trusted Lin Ray, but they couldn't guarantee that the old man's path of arrays was weaker. After all, they were in the holy world, and there was nothing in the holy world that couldn't be found. You all. Lin Yun waved his hand, leave for now. As for the old man, I'll go take a look. If I can instigate him to defect, he might be of use to our Xuanzong sect. Sect Master, Sect Leader, you can't do that. That old man's cultivation is not weak. If his cultivation is too strong, who can guarantee your safety? That's right, Sect Master. It's ridiculous for you to go there personally. The disciples and elders of the Xuanzong sect began to oppose Lin Yun's decision. They strongly disagreed with Lin Yun's decision. Firstly, it was because Lin Yun was the sect master of the Xuanzong sect. Secondly, and most importantly, it was because Lin Yun was Lin Yun's son and their master. How could they let their master be in danger and not do anything? If anything happened to Lin Yun, they wouldn't be able to explain themselves to Lin Ray when he returned. Moreover, they would have to bear the boundless wrath of Lin Ray. The battle in the immortal world was enough to prove how important Lin Yun was to Lin Ray. It could be described like this. If you hurt him even a little, I'll exterminate your entire clan. If you hurt him even a little, I'll make your family and friends lose their lives. They'll be suppressed in the 9 underworlds forever, never to be reincarnated. Therefore, how could they dare? However, what made them helpless was that their dissuasion was useless against Lin Yun. There was no need to doubt his decision. Lin Yun waved his hand and silenced everyone. I understand what you're thinking. However, I've already decided on this matter, so, you can all go about your own business. After saying that, he ignored everyone and left the main hall under everyone's gaze. What should we do? If anything happens to the sect master, Master will skin us alive when he returns. That's right. But look at the sect master now. Do you think he'll let you follow him? Everyone fell into silence when they heard Lin Yun's words. They were well aware of Lin Yun's temperament. He was a man of his word, a man of his word. However, just as everyone was panicking, Ying, who had been silent all this time, sighed and waved his hand to silence everyone. Don't worry. Since Yun has already made his decision, he must be fully prepared. We old fellows might as well cultivate the formation properly and try to complete it before the formation is broken. This way we can further ensure Yun-er's safety. Isn't that right? Everyone looked at Ying and bowed. Madam is right. We've learned our lesson. Xuanzong Sect. With blood staining the ground, Kuei Long was already lying on the ground on the verge of death. His body could not stop twitching, and the Kuei Water Sect disciples beside him were all dead. They originally thought that after Kuei Long was killed, there would be nothing left for them to do. But who would have thought that the situation would be completely out of their expectations? The moment Kuei Long was killed, Zhu Tai quickly moved between the people of Kuei Water Sect, shuttling back and forth. Just like this, each person that Zhu Tai passed by would leave behind a corpse and a pool of blood. There were only a few Kuei Water Sect's disciples left. Those that were still standing had never made a move. Those that hadn't spoken from the beginning to the end. As for these people, they were still in good condition. They weren't injured at all, and there wasn't even a drop of blood on them. Looking at their fellow sect members, they felt sorrow in their hearts. Of course, they understood that it was related to their lives. Pity for these people was meaningless. Looking up at Zhu Tai, who was walking towards them, they screamed and closed their eyes, waiting for death to come. 30 seconds. 1 minute. 3 minutes. After waiting for 3 minutes, the remaining Kuei Water Sect's disciples still didn't feel any pain. At this moment, a disciple slowly opened his eyes and looked over. Zhu Tai was right in front of them, but he didn't seem to want to kill them. Even the dense killing intent on him couldn't be felt at this moment. You're not going to kill us? Finally, the man asked this question. However, he regretted it as soon as his voice fell. Just when he was about to explain, Zhu Tai's voice rang in everyone's ears. You guys can leave now. In the future, don't do evil. Otherwise, I'll take your heads even if I have to go to the ends of the earth. Glancing at everyone, he said coldly, Did you hear that? Yes, we understand. We thank Senior for not killing us. All the Kuei Water Sect's disciples regained their senses and deeply bowed to Zhu Tai. Then, they turned around and rushed towards the sky without any hesitation. Their speed was faster than their usual speed. Looking at the hellish scene in front of him, Zhu Tai took a deep breath. A thick smell of blood rushed into his mouth and nose. It's settled? Looking at the scene, Zhu Tai was stunned. He looked in front of him and muttered, Meng-er, your enemy, your husband has killed for you. Your Yun family's hatred, in the near future, the entire Kuei Water Sect will cease to exist. This is the greatest comfort for you. Chapter 1380. Inside the mysterious sect, Lin Yun slowly walked over. Looking at the blood flowing like a river in front of the sect, he frowned and did not bother to hide his displeasure. Hey, this isn't a place for you to ruin. Tell me, how should we deal with this? Zhu Tai, who was in a daze, was awakened by Lin Yun's sudden question. He turned around and looked at the source of the voice. When he saw Lin Yun, he frowned and looked at the bloody corpses on the ground where Lin Yun was pointing. With an awkward expression, Zhu Tai cupped his hands together. Fellow Taoist, I didn't think of this when I was dealing with my personal grudge. I'm sorry. Zhu Tai continued without any intention of taking responsibility. Lin Yun felt even more unhappy when he saw Zhu Tai's attitude. So you think you're all that just because your cultivation is high? Lin Yun looked at Elder Mu, who was sitting cross-legged with his eyes closed. He raised his hand and took out a token. Suddenly, the array that was in a standby state was activated. What's going on? Why did the array suddenly change its trajectory? Elder Mu, who was in a state of enlightenment, frowned when he sensed the change in the array's trajectory. He was puzzled and woke up. How's your comprehension? Do you feel that this array has helped you a lot? Lin Yun's voice rang out in Elder Mu's ears. When Elder Mu raised his head and saw Lin Yun, he came to his senses and stood up. He patted the dust off his clothes and bowed. I'm the president of the Array Guild. Everyone calls me Elder Mu. May I know who you are? Although he wasn't sure what role Lin Yun played in the Xuanzong sect, he knew that the token in Lin Yun's hand could activate the array. Therefore, his attitude towards Lin Yun was slightly respectful. If the people from the Array Guild saw Elder Mu acting like this, their jaws would probably drop to the ground. Master, don't say anything. Lin Yun waved his hand and interrupted Zhu Tai. Little brother, may I know who set up this array in your sect? May I invite him to meet me? As soon as he said that, the sect leaders and grand elders of the sects who were hiding in the surroundings were shocked. They knew that Elder Mu's cultivation in array formations was strong. But now, was he asking for guidance? Not only were they shocked, even Zhu Tai, who had followed him for many years, was shocked. This was the first time he had seen his master like this. The corner of Lin Yun's lips rose as he looked at the two of them. The array was naturally set up by my sect. I am not talented, but it was my father, the former leader of the Xuanzong sect. What? Your father? He was dumbfounded, shocked, and in disbelief. All sorts of complicated emotions flashed through his mind. He swore that this was the first time he had felt so shocked. Based on the strength of this formation, he would be an esteemed guest even in a first-grade city. Even in the holy world, he would be a top-notch existence. But this sect in front of him, although they didn't really do anything, their cultivation was lagging behind. Moreover, according to his investigation, this sect seemed to have just ascended not long ago. You have a problem with it? Lin Yun said coldly as he looked at Elder Mu. Clearly, he was displeased with Elder Mu's words. Why can't you give it to my father? He doesn't have the ability? Or something. As if sensing Lin Yun's displeasure, Elder Mu came back to his senses and hurriedly waved his hand. No, it's just that your sect has just ascended not long ago, and yet you're able to set up such an exquisite array. This is truly shocking. Of course, he was even more impressed with the Xuanzong sect in his heart. To be able to set up such an array so soon after ascending, it was enough to show that the other party was already at this level in the lower realm. Otherwise, he had no other explanation. You investigated my Xuanzong sect? Lin Yun's frown deepened. Clearly, he was uncomfortable with Elder Mu's actions. However, judging from the other party's reaction, he should have some estimation of the Xuanzong sect from the array. As he thought about it, the voice with the wig said to Elder Mu and the surrounding people, I am Lin Yun, the sect master of the Xuanzong sect. This sect was founded by my father. If it weren't for my father's absence, you wouldn't have been able to survive until now. As he spoke, he bragged to the heavens for the sake of the wig's deterrence. Originally, he had no choice, but since Elder Mu had set up a platform, he wasn't in a hurry to use it. He just felt that it was inappropriate. I've just spoken to my father. He said that he's currently breaking through the threshold of the heavenly saint realm. If you're careful, you should treat the Xuanzong sect differently. As he spoke, a cold glint flashed in his eyes. He continued, all of you, every single one of you. All of your sects, family, and friends, leave no one alive. Back in the celestial world, there were only a dozen top sects like you all. They didn't know what was good for them. In the end, all of them were destroyed. Oh right. Back then, the Qianquan sect of the celestial world was the leader. In the end, it was destroyed. After entering the divine world, the Qianquan sect was destroyed again because of the old grudge. Now that we're in the holy world, there's no need for the Qianquan sect to continue existing. Therefore, I won't stop you if you want to take action. Right now, the sect is protected by a formation. My vice sect master is on his way back. Before you break the formation, I believe that your lives will end up like the corpses in the pool of blood in front of the gate. You won't be able to enter the cycle of reincarnation, and you'll suffer the pain of the 9 underworlds for all eternity. As the saying went, quit while you were ahead. Lin Yun still understood that he couldn't go too far. He just had to intimidate them a little. If he bragged too much, the only outcome would be the joint attack of all the sections. At that time, who knew when the formation would break? The Qianquan sect? What's the origin of this Xuanzong sect? The Qianquan sect of the celestial world and the divine world was destroyed. If the Xuanzong sect of the holy world comes, the outcome will be obvious. A war will be inevitable. Looking at Lin Yun, Elder Mu came back to his senses. He was even more respectful to the Xuanzong sect. He didn't have the same attitude as when he first arrived. Master, how trustworthy is his words? Zhu Tai looked at Elder Mu and asked. They knew about the Qianquan sect. Back then, when the sects of the 2 worlds were destroyed, the entire holy world was shaken. After all, killing the Qianquan sect was a huge crime. Looking at Zhu Tai, Elder Mu nodded. This should be believable. If Lin Yun's father really has the ability to set up such a majestic formation, he will definitely be able to report it. If it wasn't for the fact that he was protecting the sect, we wouldn't be here right now. When Elder Mu said that, a chill ran down Zhu Tai's spine. He couldn't help but feel a chill run down his spine. The two of them looked at each other with a trace of helplessness in their eyes. However, the surrounding people were already stunned. Lin Yun's breakthrough to the heavenly saint realm was a threat to them. Bastard, who gave you the information? Didn't they say that the Xuanzong sect didn't have any experts? What's going on? Is this a place for ants? It's over. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.